Thank you. So, thank you. We're live. Resident of the city of Paterson, welcome to our special meeting, Tuesday, July 9th. It's 8:08 p.m. Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mr. President. Meeting covered by 48-hour notice. Notice of the time, date, location, and agenda of this meeting was transmitted to the North Jersey Herald News, the Record, the Arabic Voice, the Italian Voice, the Passaic County Pulse, Dominicana News, the Quisqueya Internacional, El Especial, the Paterson Press, the City Post News, Tap into Paterson, the weekly Bangla Patrika, in addition to any other publication duly requesting such notices, on or about 11 a.m. on July 5th, 2024, such notices were posted on the bulletin board in the offices of the city clerk at City Hall. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, be advised that the Municipal Council of the City of Paterson has scheduled a special meeting for Tuesday, July 9th, 2024 at 8 p.m. to be held in the council chambers, in this case at the Municipal Studio, 77 Ellison Street, in the City of Paterson, for the purpose of discussing the following matter. 1. Resolution reappointing Charlene White to the City of Paterson Board of Adjustment. It's sponsored by Councilwoman Ruby N. Cotton. It's a City Council Resolution 24:401.
Second.
It was moved by Councilwoman Ruby Cotton, second by Councilwoman Mims, Councilwoman Davila, Councilwoman Lee, and Council President Mendez.
Roll call.
I need a clarification from
Discussion,
Madam-
Councilman
Madam-
Lee.
Madam Clerk.
Yes.
Is she being appointed as a regular member of the board?
Charlene White, she's been on there as a regular member.
As per the ordinance that we have or resolution we have on the book, if somebody comes in new or relapses, I would say relapses the position, then the person as an alternate number one moves up. Her term will expire on June 30th. Same thing happened in 2020 with my appointment.
Right.
I had a permanent member. That person was put back to as an alternate number two, as you could recall. So I need a clarification on that.
So I'll defer to the law department since they're interpreting
On that
the law
resolution.
to interpret the
Corporation
ordinance.
Council.
I mean, they've been asking this over and over and over and over and over, like, when are they gonna
Corporation
stop?
Council, Council President, Corporation Council.
Corporation Council.
Can you explain the overlay,
So this,
Thank you, Council President. Can I ask for clarification as to exactly what the inquiry is?
The question is, in 2020, my same board, I had a commissioner as a permanent voting member. She wasn't reappointed due to, I couldn't take the seat due to the election chaos. Her seat was, I wouldn't say vacant, but she wasn't appointed. Soon as I got reelected, she got reappointed. At the same time, she's the same commissioner who was serving in that board for years. She was put back to as an alternate number two, because her appointment was relapses, meaning she had to take off a month or so, or whatever the amount was, that the days was. She was removed from being a permanent member of the voting of the board. And this appointment, I see, she was supposed to get appointed on the 1st of July. Her term has expired on June 30th. So there's a,
Council President, can I just ask one more follow-up inquiry?
Sure, Corporation Council.
Councilman Kalik, how long was that break-in service for?
How long was the break-in service?
For the person that was relapsed.
it's a couple of months.
Councilwoman.
So, as an initial matter, I do want to note that Ms. White's reappointment is at the next council meeting after her term has expired. So I think that may be a distinguishing factor. But ultimately, it is up to the council on how they vote to appoint individuals together. And so if the council wishes to proceed with this appointment, as I have prepared the resolution of appointment for a full term and a voting member, then that's up to the council to do at this time. I was not here in 2020. I cannot comment on the council's past practice. And so I think given the length of the alleged break in time, the first meeting in July after the reorganization versus a 4-month may come into play. But ultimately, this is a city council's decision overall.
Thank you.
Council President, so Corporation
That's
Council.
roll call.
So
Roll
basic-
call. You
so
want to vote no,
basic-
vote no. That's all. You want to vote no, vote no.
Councilwoman, I was trying to clarify the same issue in 2020. 2020. It came out of the 1 year and it went out of the other year of everybody. We need a permanent solution. So basically what you're saying, Corporation Council, if this council body decide to appoint any 6 or 7 member of the board as a permanent by voting, they could do so.
Yes. That's exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Council President, may I?
Corporation Council.
At this point, I cannot opine on what happened in 2020, okay? We prepared the resolution reappointing Ms. White at this time, and it is not within my purview at this point to advise the council not to move forward with this if the council so wishes to move it forward. So ultimately, it's up to the council how commissioners are appointed. There is a resolution out there that does address who gets what appointments, but that resolution doesn't address this particular issue. And I don't know if it's appropriate for me at this time to step in to this political decision and advise the council as to why it should or should not be appointing someone that's within its purview to appoint.
Corporation Council is not a political decision. So how do we determine who is alternate and who is permanent?
Can I explain Corporation Council? Right.
Just very quickly, for a point of clarification, when I say political decision, I don't mean political in a negative way. I mean, like, it is within the council's deliberative determination as council, as a body determines it. I don't mean political as in politics are being played, so if that's how my remarks were taken, forgive me for that.
Councilmember, roll call.
Roll call.
Council President,
No, roll call.
Council President,
Council President, I'm not finished.
Okay, go, finish, Councilman.
I
Pelican, right after.
just need a clarification on the law
You got
that we have it in the book. Simple, move it on the book.
Council President.
I'm speaking, ma'am. I'm speaking. I had a permanent someone there. It was removed. With what law on the book?
Well, you want me to explain it to you?
I think all of us need a clarification.
I know it. I can tell you
I
what it
think all
is.
of us need a clarification.
You don't need.
You are good, because your voting member is
Members
permanent.
of the public, members of the public, Councilman Khalid, has the floor. Okay.
Council President,
I just need a clear clarification.
Council President,
Council President.
Council members, if I may I have your attention for a minute? Councilman Khalid asked a question based on, for a clarification. There was a conversation a few weeks before the reorg. On the next workshop, I would recommend us to have a extensive discussion based on that board, but right now, we have a resolution for a reappointment of Charlene White. We're in roll call.
Council
Please,
President,
I respectfully,
we're in discussion.
respectfully,
We're in
I told
discussion.
Councilman Velez that he gonna make his comment, before his
No,
vote.
we're in
Roll call on
discussion.
this
We're in
item.
discussion.
Roll call on this item.
Council President, my hand is
So I'm
up.
gonna open the floor for discussion.
Councilman Velez.
Councilman Mims, right after that, Councilman Velez.
No, Councilwoman Davila.
And Councilwoman Davila third.
Lady first, lady first.
So, for the next workshop, I recommend that we put an ordinance on the floor that we make it open for all appointments to be voting members of that particular board. We have the authority to do that.
100% agree.
That way, we don't have to worry about who's an alternate, who's a delegate. We can ensure that every person that's appointed is a voting member to avoid any conflict or concern. So, Council
I don't like
President,
that
I'm
one.
making that recommendation.
Councilwoman,
That-
we had a discussion.
that-
Just a minute,
Wait,
just a
this-
minute, council members. Councilwoman Mims? Go ahead.
Right, so I'm just putting it on the floor. There's no state statute that disallows the number. It is our. So if there, so if there is a state law, then we need to get that information, and there's not, on the next workshop, we can make that, put that before as an ordinance. So I would like to see that in writing if there's a state law, and if there's not, Council President, on the
Yes.
next workshop, that will be the remedy to
Thank you.
resolve.
Corporation Council, you have a request from Councilwoman Mims, correct?
Council
About the
President.
state law, the state statute that prohibit all the members to be voting members or not.
Council President.
President, I was
It's
next.
Councilwoman
Davila.
Davila, and right after.
Okay, so let me just clearly, just for the public quickly, we are in discussion, so I know that Council President wants to take the roll call, but, Councilman Kalik had a legitimate question, and we can go back to 2 years ago when I also put it on record what was going on. But with that said, I'm in agreement. Yes, there is a statute in place, state statute, land use law, that states that the way that the board is broken down, and it is a member of 9, 7 voting, first alternate and second alternate. That is established. Now, with that, we can then go back. You can cite it, Corporation Council, but let me just finish. But let's not take away or think, and I don't need to speak for him because he speaks for himself, but I've been talking about this for 2 years. 2 years, why that happened. I do know how it happened. The secretary at the time went to the individual and basically said, oh, we're moving you. And it was done incorrectly. It had to be done with the secretary of the board, with the clerk, all right? And I think what happened there, it was based on when the appointments were, the way they were appointed, instead of it being a 2-year appointment, they became a 4-year appointment. And then that changed the dynamics of the board. So, with that said, I am now ready to move forward after, everyone makes their comments, to move forward and vote on this, and then we go back and revisit how we are going to address,
Council President,
because it really is by seniority.
it is.
It really is by seniority.
Council
Okay,
President.
someone who comes in new to the board
Right.
cannot be a full voting member. You have to go through classes. You have to get your certification. So you cannot be a full voting vote with someone that has sat there 4 years and that turns into an alternate. So
Thank you.
I just-
Thank you,
Council,
Councilwoman.
Council President, if I may.
We have Councilmember Les, and you want us to roll?
Hold on. Thank you, Council President.
Councilmember Les,
So I gotta apply my experience.
Corporation Council.
I gotta apply my experience. My experience, when I came to the council and I appointed somebody to the board, served 1 year as an alternate. Then when I had to appoint it again, that person became a full member of the board as a voting. Now, there's nothing to question here. I believe this commissioner had been appointed since 2016. This is her term for 3 years already, the 3 terms. Since, Madam Clerk, you give me the wrong information? Hold on, I want to rep the council.
Councilmember Les has the floor, please.
I asked the Madam Clerk, she being appointed since 2016, I believe so, right?
Right.
That's true, Madam Clerk?
Yeah, she's been
Okay.
reappointed. Yeah.
So whoever appointed in 2020 cannot bump the 2016 appointment. Have to wait in line. So you didn't need, you tell me that you don't have to wait in line? That you have to, that's what I'm saying.
No,
No, I'm on your side, man. You're not
No,
listening.
but you don't sound like.
No. So what I'm saying is that you were being appointed since 2016.
No.
So Madam Clerk, can you clarify that?
So,
Madam Clerk.
what I know is that Ms. White has been reappointed by Councilwoman Cotton, for a second or third term?
Second.
Second? Well, unless she fulfilled an unexpired term that was held by someone else. I don't remember vividly, I don't have the records in front of me. But did she fulfill an unexpired term?
Yes, she did.
Okay, so that's what it is, and she's being reappointed now as a full voting member on the Board of Adjustment.
So Council President.
Council President,
so-
if I may, because I think everybody's really
Councilman
confused.
Cotton.
I mean,
hold on, but Council President,
I
have it
think
finished.
everybody's confused,
Councilman
and I've been
Cotton,
following this.
let's
I've been
Councilman
following
finish.
this since I've been
Go ahead,
on the city
Councilman Velez.
council.
So in other
Some
words,
council members would
Councilman-
try to make their appointment permanent and not alternate.
Councilwoman,
So you made me follow this completely,
Councilwoman,
making sure whoever came up for appointment,
Council-
where they belong, in a permanent spot or an alternate spot,
Councilwoman.
where they belong. Now, all of a sudden, and Councilman McCoy is here, they took one of our appointments from us.
Who?
When we were here. So come on now, let's stop it with all of this.
Councilwoman, we ready to?
I'm ready to vote.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Velez, you finished?
whatever we do tonight, listen, we're going to vote on it. And I believe the clarification is I was confirming with Madam Clerk the question when she was appointed, and she told me to any 2016, but it's now it's clear it was in 2020 that she was appointed first time.
Thank you.
And she didn't serve as alternative one, either two.
So, council members, roll call, Madam Clerk. Thank you. Roll call on item number 1 on the special meeting, Madam Clerk.
Roll call,
Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
roll call on resolution reappointing Charlene White to the City of Paterson Board of Adjustment. It's sponsored by Councilwoman Ruby Cotton. Councilwoman Cotton.
Do we have a motion on the floor?
Yeah, it
Move
was.
it.
We already had a
We
motion.
had
It's
a
already
motion.
moving, so roll call.
Councilwoman Cotton, your vote?
Madam Clerk, you say roll call? Okay, my vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilwoman Cotton. Councilwoman Davila?
So once again, okay, I just, for clarification purposes, it's on. You can't hear me? So for clarification purposes, and I understand Councilwoman's frustration, as this is her appointment. But she went through a process. I've been with here the longest, right, her and I. And, it went from one of her commissioners, at the time, Board of Adjustment, there was issues with certain members, there was lawsuits and all of that. She appointed a new person. Don't need to say names. That person left. She then appointed, so these are unexpired terms that she was appointing. Her last one moved to Texas, and that is when Mrs. White came on, all right, to fill the unexpired term. Okay, so I just needed to clarify that because she has not been there since 2016, and Madam Clerk, I don't know why you don't have that information, as that is something that should be part of when we do the resolutions.
Yes,
because
it's on
we
the
vote on that. Okay, so just let us just make sure that we get through legal, all the information. So, but with that said, I'm looking forward to supporting this. I'm in agreement. Councilman Kalik does need clarification, as he is also a senior person, a three-time elected official, three-term. And so, some of the things that happened and the way they happened, but some of the people are not in the room that did those things. We just got to fix it now. But with that said, I congratulate you, the work that you're doing, supporting and looking out for the city of Paterson, and my vote is yes for your reappointment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Davila. Councilman Jackson?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Just for a point of clarity, Madam Clerk, the history of the voting record or the unexpired terms is not required to be here by you. Like, we shouldn't know back in 2016 or whomever who moved. That's not a part of the resolution. The clerk should not be obligated to have that with her right now.
No.
Anyway, because everyone wants to put a point of clarity on the record, let the record reflect that Councilman Kalik lost his appointment, his permanent appointment, because he didn't get reelected. You weren't, your seat, you weren't reelected. You sat out for almost a year, having to run a special election. Your appointment was then reappointed by Councilwoman Davila. Your then appointment was reappointed by her. And then when her appointment came up to expire, you weren't here because you didn't get reelected to reappoint them. So there was a vacancy. Currently, it's totally different. You're trying to bring relevancy to the equation. There's been no meetings that's been missed by this appointee. She has not been derelict in duty. The board did not have to move an alternate in her place because she was incapable. It was the council's misoversight on not doing the reappointment, what it was fully intended on being reappointing this person. So to paint the picture as if there was, there's not parity, you weren't reelected. So the person you appointed remained, in fact, the person that you appointed is now the chair because that person remained in their seat and kept tenure because Councilwoman used her appointment to reappoint the dude. So to paint the picture, and then you didn't clarify that on his behalf, to paint the picture that
It's not about my
something
appointment.
inappropriate was done,
Council members.
it's just, it's sad. But anyway, I guess something that was supposed to take 5 minutes took 15. I apologize to all the women who spend a great deal of money on your hair and is getting sweated out in this room today. Some people have swimsuit hairdos. But anyway, Madam Clerk, my vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilman Jackson. Councilman Kalik?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Once again, I never lost an election. Okay? I never lost an election. And 1 year, maybe you should revisit your memory. I was never out of office and year out. And another thing, in 2020, I appointed somebody at the board when I was reelected again. After that, a couple of members came in and they became a permanent voting body. How is that possible? I'm just asking for a clarification. We want a permanent solution. I'm not pointing finger at anybody. I don't want to take Ms. Charlene White out or Mr. Portman or whoever is on the board out. We need a permanent solution. There is a loophole in the ordinance that we have in the book.
Correct.
So we need to look into it. That's the only thing I asked for even last time.
Yep.
So stop pointing fingers without a reason. Hey, if the ordinance that we have on the book say as it is, that's it. I have nothing to say, or nobody else should say anything. We're having a discussion because there is a loophole in the ordinance. That's it. So we need to bring back that ordinance and amend it and make it correct. That's it. We always do that with everything. So why is this an issue? I don't even know. I don't even know. My vote is yes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Councilman Kalik. Councilwoman Mims?
So let me just say this. What? Yeah. So one of the things that I don't like, and I'm going to put it on the record, I don't like, one, when it comes to reappointing or honoring or doing anything for the person, and whether they're sitting in front of us or home, that we kind of muddy the waters with other stuff. Now, if we have other stuff, let's talk about that another time. But we have our councilwoman, and I'm going to speak facts because I do a homework check. So I have the commissioner full list. Resolution 21:586 appointed Charlene White on July 1st, 2020.
Yes.
She replaced Ms. Dumas, who moved out of town, by Councilwoman Cotton, and we approved that resolution. Even if we looked at seniority, she's been on there longer than about 4 people on the current board. So even if it was based on seniority, she still would get the upper hand based on how long she's been there, based on the resolution that was approved by this entire body of the council. And tonight, it's about Charlene. Let me say this. You've done a great job. I've been to the meetings, I've watched the meetings, and I commend you for doing your due diligence. I'm a former planning board commissioner, and I know the task of going, checking the properties, understanding land use laws, sitting there, advocating, getting frustrated at times. We're trying to make sure that these applications are in the best interest of the city and the residents that live in that particular area. I want to say the reappointment by Councilwoman Cotton is the right thing to do. All the other stuff, we could deal with it later, but this is your moment. You're the resolution 21.586. And then tonight, let me put it on record so we have any issues in the future. It is resolution number
24.
24:401. So people, if you play the lottery, play that in the lottery. 24:401, 21.586. You might win because there's been a roll of the dice on tonight. Charlene White, you must be doing something right, that it had to be a whole bunch of stuff going on, but some other stuff has to be addressed, but I don't want to muddy the water. I think you're doing a great job. And guess what? You're a third ward resident, so you know I'm going to stand up for our women. Thank you for doing what you do. Madam Clerk, my vote is yes.
Thank you, Dr. Mims. Councilman Odin?
Commissioner White, I believe that it was, as you stood before, and it will stand for the community strongly. With that belief, my vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilman Odin. Councilman Velez?
So, I know Mrs. White way back, and she gave me, well, that way, not for real. Don't say that. Don't say how far. Well, one thing I could say is, and everybody knows, we appoint, but we don't give instruction to the commissioners to look what is better for Paterson or what is not good for Paterson. They are people that think out of the box. They know what Paterson needs. They know what we need in the city of Paterson. And I believe that she's been doing a great job. You like it or not. Now, what I'm going to say today is that all the discussion should be done in back doors and clarify everything back there and not make this chair over here before appointing somebody. And then we come with a decision and we do what we have to do. Miss Barbie, not Miss Barbie, I know you too. I was going to say I know you too. But I will, if it was possible, because this is the thing. The problem is this. If the secretary called for a roll call and the voting member is not available, at least the alternate had to be available. Sometimes they're not. So that's why they had to cancel a lot of meetings. So I think I think if the quorum is here, the job is gets done, and the city keep on moving forward. Somebody dropped that back there? Oh.
We good.
I would recommend, if it was possible in the law, that to add, instead of 7 members, to add 9 members into that board, and everybody will be a voting member. And everybody will make decision in that board. Instead of 7, move out the 2 remaining alternate to be a voting member, if the law allows it. And then instead of having 7 members, we will have 9 members, like we have 9 council members in the city of Paterson. Saying that, congratulations. Thank you for being here. I know you didn't want to be here. I know your hair's going to mess up with this heat and this freeze thing. But congratulations. My vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilman Velez. Mr. President?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'm very excited for this moment because Ms. Charlene White, she's not only a phenomenal commissioner, but she's one of the stronger residents that I have, one of the stronger leaders that I have in the 3rd Ward. She helped me to do my job way much better. Every time there's a problem on her block, I get that text, I get that call. We always in communication. And listen, I love the involvement that you have in our community. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for spending so many hours in those meetings. And to the rest of the commissioners that are here, some of them from the 3rd Ward, I want to say thank you for the outstanding job, Commissioner, that you guys doing. If you could stand out, please, before I vote. It's important that the community know who you are. Thank you for the amazing job that you're doing. Charlene, keep doing a great job. And I just want to say I feel very pleased to have you as a resident of the 3rd Ward. And I just want to say publicly thank you. Every time there's a problem, I get that text, I get that call, and we work together extremely well to make our city better and to make the third ward better. With that being said, my vote is yes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Council President. The votes are 8 yeses, 1 absent. Resolution reappointing Charlene White to the Paterson Board of Adjustment, Resolution 24:401 is hereby adopted.
Council President, I
Thank you.
think on the blessing of her appointment tonight, we should allow our great third ward resident Commissioner Charlene to speak.
Yes, let's open the mic, Charlene.
Hey, thank you, all of you, for, nominating me once again. Ruby, thank you. I know I'm making you proud,
Yes.
and I know I'm making some other developers unhappy, but that's okay. I thank all the people that came out and supported me, Ms.
Right.
Wahida, Ms. Shirley, my commissioners, Ms. Trinace, and Mr. Robert Parchment. I'm looking to continue for another 4 years. Whatever you guys need to work out on your own. Thank you so
Yes.
much. Oh my God, Madam Secretary is here.
Madam.
Myra, she came out for me. This is our board secretary.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much for the great
Council
job.
President.
Congratulations,
Council
Commissioner.
President,
Move to
Corporation
close.
Council.
thank
Move
you.
to close.
Very briefly.
What?
So,
Oh, I removed my movement.
that's okay. Thank you, Council President. And I just want to say, now that this process is concluded at this time, that it is incumbent upon the City Council, according to state law, to enact an ordinance to deal with the appointment and reappointment of these commissioners. And so I would respectfully request that the council proceed with that process in order to, one, comply with state law, but two, avoid the confusion that arises every time something like this occurs. And lastly, to continue to inspire confidence from the public in this process, in our commissioners, and in our city government. So
Thank you.
that's my respectful request, and the law department is happy to work with any committee, any council member that has any ideas. We're happy to draft the ordinance and put it forth for a vote so that we can have clarity going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Corporation Council. There's a motion on the floor to close the meeting.
Council
It was moved by
President.
Councilwoman Mims.
We cannot have a meeting and make a motion to close without opening the public portion. Every single meeting that we have,
For the special meeting.
even special meetings,
Yes.
must have a public portion.
Yes.
And if we have individuals in the
Madam
public
Clerk.
ready to speak, you must open the floor for public portion.
Madam Clerk, can we get the public portion,
Anybody
combine
on
the
the special?
workshop and the
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, so what we're gonna do, members of the public, so we're gonna have only one public portion, which is televised also. So everybody that have the name of, who have the name of the list, they will have the chance to speak. You have 3 minutes to speak on the mic. Be respectful with the council and with the rest of the community members that are here today. So Councilman Mims will remove her motion. and
I'll
also
remove it,
Councilman
but Council
Davila as well.
President,
So
Council
let's-
President, I will remove it, but I do have something, if I can. Council President, through the Council President. Madam Clerk, did anyone sign up for the special meeting public portion?
No, we're gonna do it
Okay,
together.
so I just wanted to
Just-
clarify, because Councilman
There are
Jackson
no
was correct.
signees on the special meeting but the workshop. We do
No,
have
I understand, but I wanted to just put it out there that Councilman Jackson was correct, that in every special meeting, there is a public portion, but no one signed up. But
Councilwoman,
through Council President, he's going to allow for the workshop public portion to come on. So I
That's-
think that's awesome, because then we'll be done.
Councilwoman, that's what I said. We're gonna combine members of the public. We're gonna combine the public portion for the workshop and the special meeting also as well. How many speakers do we have, Madam Clerk, in total?
Right now, we have.
It's gonna be only one, members of the public. It's gonna be only one public portion. If you don't have your name on the list, you could come around. Just add your name. Okay, your name is on the list. We're gonna call everybody.
Okay.
Thank
I'm
you.
already signed up, but I do want to speak about the mismanagement of this meeting.
We're gonna,
The indoor temperature in here exceeds the OSHA guidelines. This is poor management. When did you know? You're dressed for hot weather. Other people are in suits. You came prepared. You knew there was no air. This is not right. And I see you're in your seat tonight, Madam BA. And you can look the other way, but it's poor management. This is just another example.
So,
It's poor management. It's an OSHA violation. The FBI will be here, and you're going to be in double handcuffs.
let's call the first speaker, Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mr. President.
Council President, we're in violation of OSHA, all right?
I'm sorry.
Or to do
Council
it
President, are we
We have to
closing?
put it out there if the
So,
public is here to
members
speak and
of
they
the
want
public,
to.
let's.
I'll
Back-
definitely leave.
May I have a moment, Council Cali? We're gonna open the public portion. Right after that, I will take care of the rest of the agenda with Madam Clerk. Let's hear from the community that is already here. Right after this, we will close the meeting. We will close the workshop, and I will finish the rest of the business with Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, let's call the first speaker.
Yes, Mr. President. But before we call the first speaker, would you like to close the special meeting?
Let's move to close.
No, we're gonna do everything within
Everything?
the special
Okay.
meeting. So.
Okay, so our first speaker is Joseph Hart.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm here to complain about a few things. You know, I don't own no property and stuff like that, but I'm going through hell right now. The things. It's not one.
What is this?
Yes. Go ahead.
Two things that I hate about my city of Paterson is the parking. People don't give a damn about a senior citizens crossing the New Jersey Transit bus. I take that every day. And you got all these cabs in this town. We don't need all these cabs and the Ubers and the damn minibuses. I hate that. I'll never ride with them. The two best cabs we had back in the days was Jiggets and Veterans. And why we ain't got no movie theater in this town, I'll tell you why. The Fabian Theater was 2 movies for the price. And then we used to have a total up there in Union Ave, the Plaza Theater. So ain't no movie theater in this town. This is my city. I was born here in 1961. And there's some things that will never be changed. And I like to see more law enforcement handling stuff. Because I know some of them got to do what they got to do. But on Ellison Street by the pizzerias, people think they own everything. They think they own the damn sidewalks. That sucks. And I just hope that can be taken care of. Because if it don't get taken care of, it will be taken care of. I hate this, you know? And that's all I got to say right now. And I wish the mayor would Graves was the best mayor of Paterson. He would drive up in the hoods anytime at night. But it ain't that way no more. All right. I'll be back again, and I'm out.
Let's speak, Madam Clerk.
Next speaker, former Councilman William Bill McCoy.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I just wanted to cover a couple items very quickly. It is extremely hot in the room, and I hope that we put the AC on the list to make sure that we have everybody safe going through the process. Once again, to the viewing public and to all of our council members, we have an application on the agenda, item 39, for the Bill McCoy Foundation Jamaica Day and Gospel Fest on August 3rd and 4th. We're looking forward to a great time for everybody to come out, good food, good people, and great entertainment. Everything has been submitted, and I'm looking forward to the council's approval as we move forward. There are 3 things that came out of the July 1st meeting. I wasn't able to stay for the full end. I just wanted to cover them very quickly and to say that the public should always be respected when they come to the city council. And the Briggs family has given a tremendous amount of service and commitment to the city. And I think as leaders, we ought to be recognized, those individuals, and make sure we take constituents' complaints with a bit of grace and understanding. We can't say that everything is being done right, but we certainly ought to treat folks in a respectful way when they come to the council. The matter of the Grace Chapel parking lot, I'm a member of my church, is right across from them. And we, the city of Paterson and the residents of the Allen Avenue area, owe an eternal gratitude to Grace Chapel for making such an improvement and an investment in that area that reduced crime, reduced conflict, and set us on a path of growth and development. I was very disappointed when I heard of the circumstances that occurred. And like Councilwoman Cotton, I think it's very important that we be transparent, that we look at the record and review that in a public way that we can understand how that situation occurred. And if there were some exceptions or errors, that we as a city commit ourselves to correcting them. The 50% reduction in the production of the council meeting, having less, I'm not certain tonight that we could get through any regular meeting before 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So to cut the meeting times in half, I think was a little bit short-sighted. And the kinds of slip-ups that we've seen, and you look at the tax appeal settlement, the discussion that went on today, very valid, very important. You won't be able to have that kind of intense conversation if you're restricted by time, by compressing everything to 1 meeting per month. And I suspect that instead, you'll have multiple special meetings that will lead to inefficiency and non-productivity. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Next speaker is Mr. G. Greer. G. Greer.
Did you bring some watermelon? G, is that some watermelon in that bag?
No, but actually, I have one in the car. I just picked it up from Bridget. Can't wait to get home. The slice is an orange one. Good evening. I want to thank y'all for leaving slot number 3 open on the signing list. You guys, I really appreciate you guys. Listen, real quick, I want to touch on a few things. Number one, it's hot in here, and I was not able to hear you guys because of the fans, the noise that it made. So I actually had to go in the other room and go to YouTube to listen to the meeting. Number 2, third largest city, state of New Jersey, and you mean to tell me no air conditioning? But anyway, I'm here to talk about the trash. On my way here, what was this? Holzman and Stout Street. Someone put up a post and asked me, was that taken care of? I said, well, I'll drive by. So tonight I drove by. Not only is the garbage still there, there's additional trash there. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if you guys remember, but when you moved to bulk trash, I stood at the podium and told you that it would not work. Not that I don't want it to work, I just knew it wouldn't work. With the manpower that you have in this city, it's not gonna work. And I'm pretty sure, and I didn't have a chance to look at your books, but I'm pretty sure your overtime for DPW have to be extremely high. Have to be. You probably spent more money on bulk trash than you said you were saving. I believe it was $200,000 a month. I'm pretty sure you well over that per month. And I sat here and told you guys that it wouldn't work. But I have a plan. We can fix this. We need to get an all-out, all hands on deck, and let's pick up the trash. And what I mean by that, every DPW employee, the homeless population, pay them a certain amount of money an hour, tell them where to show up, and say, you know what, in 3 days, we want to clean this city. It will work. You can even, some cities even give them a food card where they can go to certain restaurants and purchase food or grocery, something like that. But anyway, y'all, we need to clean it up. The next thing is, I don't know how many inspectors we have, but I have called a number of times where people illegally dump trash, and then I see the men and women from DPW have to come clean it up, and most of the time, those people don't even get a summons. I mean, DPW is like they're pissing against the wind. I feel bad for them. That homeless encampment, I want to give Joe a shout out because you treated those individuals with respect. When you cleaned that area up, nobody tent was taken away like I have seen other cities do. You gave them a chance to get their personal items, which was good. But I agree with the city, that site needed to be cleaned up. I don't want to take no more of your time because I can be here all day long.
Thank you, Brother G.
But anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Brother
And
G.
congratulations on your reappointment to council president. And where is the vice president? He was just elected. Where at?
No, he's on vacation.
He's on vacation. Okay, good. I'll
Yeah.
text.
Yes. So next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Wahida Mohammed.
Ms. Wahid.
With God's name, good evening. I'm sorry I didn't hear that call, but I just want to touch on a few things. Why? The mic, I'm talking into it. You can't hear me? But that's not my problem. Oh, you want me to take my mask off? Anywho. First of all, like everybody else, I'm about to pass out in here. I just can't understand that we did this building and there's no air in here. Really? Unbelievable. The other thing is, I know I heard you all talk about having these meetings down the street at the college. What happened with that? That didn't go anywhere either, like all the other stuff that you all talk about? Okay. As far as the reappointment for Charlene White, let me tell you something. That sister does her work. She does her job. And anybody that have a problem with her being on that board, it's because you got some crap that you want to bring into this city and you don't want her to discover it. That's the only reason. The other thing is, you all reducing the meetings. Can you imagine what business you're not going to do? That you've been here all these hours now with just this? I mean, it's unreal that you're going to reduce the meetings and get something done. But that's what you said. You're going to get more work done because you're going to reduce the meetings. Make that make sense to me. I don't get it. But anyway, the other thing is getting to the Briggs family. I hope and pray that they will at least do what you asked Councilman Jackson, do something that they don't ordinarily do, and that's listen to you, and at least respect the Briggs family because they are here tonight to go ahead and hear them so that we can do better in this city. Because I'm telling you, between the garbage and all the other crap that's going on in this city, I don't know what we're looking at. I don't know what we're hearing. I don't know what you're thinking. Because everywhere you go, there is garbage. I don't get it. And then you say, well, you all keep saying we don't care. I say you don't care because you don't say nothing. Every single time something is brought to this council, and the only one that's objecting or making the point about it is Councilman Jackson. Even though a lot of you will say, well, they have the 5 votes anyway. That means nothing. The fact that you won't even open your mouth about the truth, about whatever that is, whether you like it or not. If it's the truth, you should at least be a woman or man enough to say something. And you can ignore me all you want to, but the people hear and see what's going on. And for Alaziz to be the vice chair, you better never miss a meeting because you know he's not going to be here. And I feel sorry for you, Lewis, that they gave you the okie doke, but hey, you live and you learn. Thank you, and God bless.
Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Eddie Olivares.
Yes, good evening, all. Before I get to my main point, I want to also say what a travesty that is, cutting the meetings in half. What can I tell you? It is expected of most of you. The only person that voted against it was Mr. Jackson. I'm not going to say much about it, only because I don't know who came up with that bright idea. As soon as I do, I will say a lot more. But for tonight, I want to talk about something that happened in the last meeting, and this has to do with Mr. Mendez. Well, sitting right in front of me was Omar Ledesma. This is Alex Mendez, probably biggest supporter. And after I spoke, he turned around and in a very low voice, he called me a kiss ass because of what I say about Michael Jackson. I mean, he really is the only one that it's fighting for us. That's how I feel. But I would say to you, if this was planned, Mr. Mendez, you should pay attention. You ask for respect, but you don't respect us. But anyway, if you're gonna pick somebody to come and either intimidate me or speak on your behalf, that's a bad choice. It's a very bad choice because, if the idea was to intimidate me, it didn't work. And if the idea was to convince me that maybe I should at least give some thought to working with you or supporting you, he did a very poor job. Because I spoke to him for a couple of minutes, and when I was done with him, he agreed with me that you cannot do anything about the crime. You cannot do anything about the trash. You cannot do anything about prostitution. You cannot do anything about drugs. You cannot do anything about anything. So if that's the case, why is he supporting you? I asked him. And he doesn't have an answer. You see, I don't feel like that about Mr. Jackson. If I felt that way about Mr. Jackson, I would not support him. I believe in my heart of hearts that he can do a lot better than the rest of you are doing for the city. All you got to do, and I've said it before, it doesn't take a lot of brains. If you guys find out that in the 10, 15, whatever amount of years you've been on the council, it's not working, try something different. Who is offering something different? Mr. Jackson. I mean, you must hate it to be wrong all the time. I hate to be in your shoes, but it's the truth. And, we think this idea of cutting the meetings to half, it is bad enough that we don't have a venue, we don't have a way of really communicating how we feel. And finally, I am going to say, Mr. Velez, at some level, I do like you, but you owe me lunch. Don't forget that.
Thank you. Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Next speaker is Abdul A. Ali.
Abdul. Oh.
That's the old one. Can you hear me? Turn this thing up. Don't play with me. The last time I was here, they said they didn't hear me.
It's on. Just speak a little closer.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Why I said that? I seek refuge in God from the rejected enemy. Now, who's the enemy? It could be my ego and your corruption. And when I was here the last time, I'm not going over this. There's a universal surah. Be you Christian, be you Muslim, be you Jew, or be you Sabian. Strive like you're a race to all that is what? Good to please your Lord. Ask yourself. Ask your heart, are you doing that? I know Moneymaker ain't doing that. You know what? There is a political genocide going on in this city. When it comes to African Americans, economical genocide, social genocide. Why men can't be a president? Why Mike can't be a president? Because the rest of y'all sit down in cahoots. We don't want that one there. We don't want that one there. And you know what, Mike? Truth ain't an easy thing to swallow. It ain't an easy thing to swallow. But okay, thank you for chopping up them trees down there. What you gonna do with that dirt? Thank you. You got to get that dirt done. Another thing, you got to allow yourself to see, can we work as a team under one order, or are we working individually on a political order to get some economical benefits? Brother lawyer, you tell your friend, Abdul Aziz, perk up his Islamic development. The reason why I mention that, don't you know the United States was based on Quranic law? Not to go religious, but it was an order to get America on a moral state. Where's your moral state at? And the reason why I mention that is a lot of corruption going on out here. And all of y'all is promoted for that mess. Menendez, your man here, the sister here, she go back and forth. That's right, I know. Hey, listen, show your true self, and I expose your true self. And I'm gonna tell you something. Your mayor, hey Andre, I hope you are listening, Aki. You need to understand, you have a plan, but Allah is the best of all planners. You hang out with a lot of Muslims, you better start practicing some of that stuff. Because you know what? It's going to come back. One more thing, I'm out of here. Don't you call you got some power, Andre? That building on 245, Masjid Salahuddin. Don't come up with no idea to try to sell that building. That was the very first Islamic building in northern Jersey since 1969. So don't get no ideas of trying to sell that building so we don't have a place for us to worship. Thank you for letting me share. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you. Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Renfrey Briggs.
Good evening. My name is Renfrey Briggs, and I live on Wall Avenue.
Good evening.
Hi. I was here last week, and I spoke to the members here in reference to.
Close to the mic.
Raphael, can you put that microphone a little bit higher, please?
I was here last week, and I spoke to the board in reference to Wall Avenue, where I live, about you guys making the street a one-way. Now you made it a private street, and that councilman there, I don't know what your name is, you said it's not important. It's important to me. It's important to the people that live on our blocks. You guys all agree that taxpayers matter. All taxpayers matter. And I'm a taxpayer on Wall Avenue, and I pay $20,000 or more there. And it's not just me that is affected. It's affected everybody that live there. And I was told that the members of the mosque came down and spoke to everybody, and we was all in agreement with them to change the street into a one-way. But no one has ever came to my door to ask me about changing my street into a one-way, or how I felt about the street being a one-way or now being private. No one has asked anybody on the block. I had a petition, but I didn't bring it with me. Everyone signed it, and no one has come to their door to ask them that. And my thing is that you made it so you slanted the streets, you made it a one-way so they can have more parking, but it's not enough parking because they take up all the parks on our block. And if a place don't have enough parking for all the people that's coming there, they need to relocate their business somewhere else. And where we live is residential, and it's historical. And it was supposed to remain the same. And they say it's not commercial, but they're making it commercial. And it's not fair to the people that live on that street that we have all that going on. Like we have all that police presence during particular holidays. We have all the sheriff's department, Paterson police cameras all around the neighborhood. It's not fair that we live in that element, because if I were to try to sell my house, I couldn't sell my house because what goes on, because it's like, who wants to live on a street like that now that there's no parking, it's constant traffic. The mosque have made the street a one-way and it's exclusive to Muslims. They have a sign outside saying no trespassing. Who are they talking to? People that's non-Muslims? That means if you're not a Muslim, you can't go down that street because the street is blocked off. And I understand it can be blocked off when they're having an event, but there's Saturday afternoons when there's no events. All night long, the street is blocked off. There's other people that live in that apartment building right around the corner that used to use that street, utilize that street. But now that it's a one-way or it's blocked off, when there's nothing going on, they can't utilize it. St. Teresa's, they have big events, and they make do with the parking that they have. You guys didn't block off the street for them, or you guys didn't give the street to St. Teresa's, or you haven't given the street to anybody. And the person I spoke to on the phone, he said, the reason the street is ours is because we bought all these houses. I said, well, you bought the houses. You didn't buy the block. How do you buy a block? Like, what did they tell you? I need this block for this reason. Like, what could they possibly say? This is why we need this street for our own. So anybody could just ask for a street in Paterson and you guys just give it to them. Like, it's not fair to us. We live there. We pay taxes. And you say taxpayers count and votes count. And evidently, Wall Avenue, people don't count. And I think Mr. Mendez, I spoke to you. And you said to that woman that you call your people back. You didn't call me back. You didn't call me back. You didn't come to my house like you said last week. I'll be there. I'll be on your block. You didn't come. Now, Ms. Mendez said, Ms. Mims, I'm sorry. She did call me. She did reach out to me, like she said. Mr. Jackson reached out to me. But that was about it. But you said, you're my third ward councilman, and you didn't call us. And you didn't go door to door and speak to anyone. So I guess I need to talk to that woman there because you say she gets the job done. So I think I need to speak to her.
Thank you. Yep. That was correct. Thank you.
Mr. Joel Keys Jr.? Joel Keys Jr.
Yeah. Joel Keys?
All right, I got props.
Testing, 1, 2. Joe Keys, Paterson. I watched the video of the June 11th meeting, and it reinforced my focus and intention to clarify why African-American Councilman Mike Jackson is misunderstood by many, primarily his colleagues on the council, and to continue the mission of bringing democracy to Paterson. Moreover, the two are related because the solutions require the people to organize and mobilize as a united force. I brought 2 books here tonight to help make my point regarding clarifying the plight of African-American Councilman Mike Jackson. Racism Without Racists, Colorblind Racism and the Persistence of Racial Inequality in America, and Colorblind, the Rise of Post-Racial Politics and the Retreat from Racial Equity. In Racism Without Racists, Eduardo Bonilla Silva asserts, quote, what happened is that white supremacy in the United States has changed. Today, new racism practices have emerged that are more sophisticated and subtle than those typical of the Jim Crow era, unquote. In essence, Jim Crow is the old style of racism, and post-racial colorblindness is the new racism. The civil rights movement is significant because it caused the change from the old Jim Crow style racism to colorblindness, the new style. Former President Barack Obama understood these dynamics and took advantage of them to get elected. In Colorblind, Tim Wise demonstrates an example. Quote, white Obama backers explain that they supported the senator because he makes whites feel good about themselves, or because he doesn't come with the baggage of the civil rights movement, unquote. Tim Wise succinctly affirms, quote, while this may suggest the benefits of post-racial liberalism for getting persons of color elected to office, it hardly speaks to the question of whether such an approach is best for addressing inequities, unquote. Alternatively, Tim Wise concludes, quote, it may be that all post-racial liberalism accomplishes is to take anti-racism off the table while leaving racism in both its institutional and interpersonal forms dangerously in place, unquote. In conclusion, it is these dynamics that Councilman Jackson understands and why he subscribes to the tenets of the following message from Dr. Kwame Ture, who is explaining why a particular black mayor had no power.
He states, quote, "I'll tell you why he has no power. For us, power can come only from our organized masses. All of our power to bring change in this country comes from mass struggle. That's clear. So if the power comes from mass struggle, it is sure to change things. Political power can come only from the organized masses to ensure those changes. And since the masses of our people are not organized, he can have no power at all. None whatsoever. If he does, where is his power base? It certainly is not the masses of his people. And if it's not the masses of his people, the power base must be used against his people."
Thank you. Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Next speaker, Ms. Deborah Hannibal.
Good evening.
Good evening, Deborah.
Deborah Hannibal, Paterson, New Jersey, resident and taxpayer. I am here tonight to talk about a few issues. And I want to say this nice, but this meeting tonight is the textbook of poor management. The speakers are barely working. I'm yelling right now to be heard. That should not happen. When you're in a position of leadership, at some point, I believe the BA knew, and she dressed herself appropriately for this overheated room. There will be people that will be sick, and the city will have to pay claims tonight for illness because we're in a room and everybody can check on their cell phone that the heat in this room is above, the temperature is above the OSHA guidelines. So they're putting the city in jeopardy again. We need people to sit in that seat, and you can smirk and you can laugh at me all day, but I'm going to get the last laugh, okay? Because I know you, and I know things are not done correctly, and I know things are done by design. We're talking about the bulk trash. Tonight I looked at channel 77. With good eyesight, with 20/20, you cannot read that. Has been no marketing to really educate the people about how the trash works. It can be done, but you take somebody that understands how to do work and has been successful at getting things done. This is not success. This is just staying with, we don't want to, sometimes you got to say you're fired. The mayor needs to say you're fired. Give somebody else an opportunity to sit in that seat and turn things around. We need a turnaround in this city. Tonight, this temperature, it makes people upset. What happened with the police and fire, not getting their retro, those people work. They're short-staffed, they work. They're not getting their retro. Nobody's talking about it, but I think it's something that should be talked about. And the reason why I'm concerned is that during the Eid weekend, Father's Day weekend, a friend of mine who has a sick relative in the 100 block, I don't know if I want to name the street because they're so afraid of their neighbor that plays music night and day. They'll start at 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. There's a sick person in the house who needs and requires sleep. They call the police, every person. They got other people to call. And when they called the police, they were told to call your councilman at 3 a.m. What is the point of calling your councilman? And I don't blame the police. I would be upset too because the BA got paid. They want to be paid. And they want to be paid a living wage, a reasonable salary for the work that they do for this city. And there was something else I wanted to say. And I'm not going to bring up the resurfacing again, but when the BA addressed my concerns, she didn't give a response. She attacked me. Because if there was a real answer, she would have given that. So that told me all I wanted to know. because there is a lack of fairness, and I exposed it, and everybody knows. And what Professor Key says, until everybody gets upset, it'll be business as usual in this city. If the black churches are not outraged and supporting what happened at Grace Chapel, every Christian needs to be here because that should not have been done. It would not have been done on Wall Street, where they own properties, 5 houses, and not paying any taxes. There's certain things that are just not going to be allowed, but because we're silent about things that matter, they just keep happening.
Thank you.
So enough is enough. And you can Twitter all you want to, but I know what I know.
Thank you.
And I know that God will remove wickedness from high places.
Thank you.
So that is my prayer.
Thank you.
And I cannot wait to see, because that will be the day of Jubilee.
Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Next speaker is former Councilman Anthony Davis. Former Councilman Anthony Davis.
Councilman Davis. How many more speakers do we have?
I'm not sleeping.
One more.
One more.
Not that I can, I really can't even hear. So obviously that is a concern that we have here. Good evening and welcome to all those who receive a nomination and getting their seats back. Congratulations. I would not come here and not attack you. I don't believe in that. I know what it's like to sit on that side and how people are misinterpret things or don't get it right. And saying that, if something is wrong that's going on in our city, especially when you are not fulfilling the rights or listening and disrespecting a family that I love and that I knew since I was a wee little kid. The Briggs families are staples in this family. Like everyone else, you all should give respect to them. But there's no way, from what I heard, I was not here July 1st. I was not pleased from what I heard. And what's going on. The young lady that spoke before me talked about Wall Ave and up there and what's going on. And I am one to believe that all these churches that we all need to have a safety net like they do, of security detail, blocking off streets, blocking people's homes, driveways. Shouldn't happen. Shouldn't happen. And I agree. When certain events are taking place, that's fine. But not daily. Not daily. That is one of the thoroughways that you can go to New York, off of Route 4. And to have it blocked off or have people track or retrack around, it's not conducive. And then the issue with Grace Chapel. I was not pleased to hear that. I don't know how certain things are flying through the council and it's not being addressed. So I will start paying attention and we will have people here to see what's going on. And in my closing, we all are favorable, and so you care and say you care about Paterson. Just don't care about Paterson when it's time to get elected. And then you don't do the due diligence the other years around.
So, in respect, we want to make things right. Please adhere to what was stated tonight. Get this fixed. And I'm not even going to ask why we're not in the council chambers, but that's a different story. So, have a pleasant night, and we'll be watching.
Councilman, next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Next speaker is Ms. Myra Torres Arenas.
Ms. Myra Torres.
Myra Torres Arenas.
Good evening, everyone. Council people, administration. My name is Myra Torres Arenas. I am a resident of Paterson. And I want to congratulate first everyone who are back in their seat. Abdulaziz, Councilwoman Cotton, Councilman Jackson, Councilman Mendez, Councilman Shaheen Khalid, Councilman Luis Mendez. Velas. What I want to say is, I pray, I'm not here to criticize anyone. I'm not here to defend anyone. I heard everyone speaking. What I do want to say is, regarding the meetings, we have to see the whole picture of certain things. And I believe that also the clerks here, Madam Clerk, Mary, and everyone else that sits there work their hardest and darnest. And for me, being a woman, I don't think that sometimes being here to the wee hours at night to then have to go to work the next day is fair. That's my opinion as a woman. We have to see the whole picture. Yes, I don't know how the council is going to see through everything they have to see, but maybe if we kept some of our personal offenses to ourselves, maybe these meetings will go a little bit more smoothly. And I'm not pointing the fingers at anyone. I don't need to. I would like the council people, and along with our administration, to work differently this year, to work a little bit more together. Because I believe this, right now what I'm worried about is a presidential election. I'm gonna be honest. What I see going on is beyond, and it scares me, because racism, this is nothing what you're seeing here.
Yes.
This is nothing to what's going to come.
Yes.
But I believe in a God, a sovereign God, that if the person that I think is going to win, that I'm scared of, God knows who he puts in place and for what reason. Okay? Come in May, as evil as they can be or as good as they can be. God leaves and puts people in power for a reason. Sometimes, church, we have to wake up. It's not a matter of that I'm Latina, you're black, I'm white. No, it's a matter that there's no discernment anymore. And we're settling. But that's another case. I pray for each and every one of you, regardless of your religion. You all merit respect, deserve respect. And the day that I come here and offend someone is because y'all really have done something that I think is really out of bounds. But I hope I would never get to that point that I can talk to each and every one of you personally and say, you know what? I think we need to change our tactics. I think we need to change how we see things. But again, respect each other. Remember, I said this once, you are the head. Everyone here was voted for a reason. You're sitting here for a reason. Unite the words and let's face all these other challenges that Paterson has. Paterson has a lot of challenges, but we're never going to get anywhere if we're divided.
Thank you.
Take care. God bless you all. Our prayers are with you.
There are no more speakers,
Thank
Mr.
you, Madam Clerk. Close the public portion.
Move to close.
It was moved by Councilwoman Mims, second by Councilmember Les. Roll call, Madam Clerk, to close the public portion on the special meeting.
Mr. Muhammad, try not to leave just yet. Just 1 second.
Roll call. Roll call to close the public portion of the workshop session of Tuesday, July 9, 2024. Councilwoman Cotton.
Closing the public hearing.
Okay. Are we closing the public portion now, Madam Clerk?
We're closing the public portion.
Okay, my vote is yes to close the public portion. I have comments after we open back up. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Cotton. Councilwoman Davila.
My vote is yes, to close, and, Madam Clerk, Council President, I'll be retiring right now.
Okay. Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So I'm gonna try to be as loud as possible so that everyone can hear me. And most of the speakers are absolutely correct. What we're witnessing is a gross failure to be conscious of the public's best concern. And it's happening over and over again. And, you know, I personally will not sit here and continue to allow it. I know I saw the gentleman from the mosque just walk in, but members of the public, please pay attention to what's happening. Yes, the BA, she's failed on many occasions, so today is just another one to add to the list. But the attempt now to curtail the meeting, because everyone said, well, let's just let the council president decide which items need to be on the agenda. That's because the item that I wrote is at the bottom of the agenda and hasn't been addressed yet. Because it's very important. And, you know, it's very clear. I support the entire community. I support every item that they have brought before me, even when I take on scrutiny. When Councilman Shaheen Khalik brought forward the call to prayer, I was the deciding vote in support. Because I think everybody in our community deserves a fair opportunity to have a freedom of expression. When the item, Mrs. Briggs, for your street to be closed was when I was solicited for a vote, I told everyone, including the members of the mosque, I have no issue and no problem with the street. I could care less what happens with the street. I don't live there. But what I do care about is what the residents feel. And I was told, not only by the members of the mosque, but by multiple council members, that everybody had been consulted with. In fact, the council president, at your last attendance here at the meeting, said that he was going to be there the next day to address it. When I saw your petition and saw that you had 10 of the 13 houses, there are only 13 houses on the entire street from Broadway to Park Avenue, from Route 4 to Park Ave, only 13. And the claim was they spoke to everybody. Then I was told, well, I only asked if it was 400 feet from the mosque. The houses that's owned by the mosque is 400 feet. Of course, they'll have full support from them, but what about the rest of the membership? So the fact that the public was not consulted with was a concern for mine, because that is where they earned my vote and my support. So in doing my research, because I had to write the ordinance as I promised to rescind that order. But in doing the research, which my aide, and we'll get to that in a second, just passed around. If you look down the line at the sixth whereas, as a matter of fact, to the fifth whereas pursuant to the NJSA 40:67-1, Section B, whenever the county or municipality by resolution or ordinance, as the case may be, determine that the property which has been acquired by purchase, gift, devise, lease, exchange, or otherwise for a nominal or non-consent consideration for specific purpose, or subject to lawful conditions, restrictions, limitations as to use, can no longer be used for the purpose of which acquired, meaning that the street can no longer be utilized for the purpose of which it was utilized as a public thoroughfare. It may be offered or reconveyed. The fifth whereas, pursuant to the NJSA 40:67-1, Section B, whether or not the same or any part has been actually opened or improved except any street, highway, lane, alley, square, beach park, therefore dedicated to the public use. It says clearly within the state statute that was utilized to reallocate this road, it says if the road was not being utilized for its conditional use. That means if it was on a dead-end street, the public wasn't utilizing the street, this street was clearly being utilized by the members of the public. So therefore, there's another failure from the legal department in advising the council that this was appropriate. It was not appropriate. And the fact that the councilman had the audacity to tell the member who is supposed to be heard from the council and from the administration, well, if you got a problem, I suggest you go knock on their door. That right there was enough to take me to over the top. I'm willing to support everyone, but we got to do the right thing by everyone. We can't solicit. There's over 360 plus religious institutions in this community, and I ask all of you who have the knowledge of anything, how many other religious institutions are giving this kind of a concession? It's not, and it's not fair. The members of the public, we must, and in fact, I'm expecting even more from the institution themselves to walk on integrity, to walk on purpose, to walk on honesty. When I was told that every member of the street was consulted with, and they weren't, when a member of the street has a petition signed by all the homeowners that says that they were never spoken to, that's a problem. That's a problem. So I'm not sure I can acknowledge that I can assume, and I don't, often the word is clear, like making an assumption, but it's common practices. I can assume this item may not even make it to the agenda. So I have other suggestions. If it's within the council's purview, first of all, we've already opened ourselves up to legal matters because the state legislation is clear. The roads can be conveyed. Councilman McCoy, you are absolutely correct. The street can be conveyed if it's not being utilized for its current use. And we have members of the neighborhood that contested it was. But more importantly, if the council and the administration want to hold firm, I have no issue with supporting, the general consensus. But if the mosque is going to have an exclusive street designated only to themselves, Councilwoman Cotton, I created a potential solution. There's another resolution that I will draft for residency parking on the remainder of Wall and Dundee Street so that anyone visiting the neighborhood cannot park in front of the other people's houses, block driveways, park illegally, and any car that does so should be automatically towed. Because we have to look out for the residents' best interests. And if we're not doing that, then what are we here doing? So, there's room for negotiations, but what happened here, there was no negotiations that took place, and I'm going to remain consistent. People making phone calls saying, oh, he's against this group, he's against that group. That is never the case. I support every single group. I support every single effort, but I support consistently what is right. And we got to do the right thing. I don't care if it's one person. One person matters. And you know what, Councilwoman? I can even give you one more suggestion. If we want to convey public property to the mosque and we want to not take in consideration the trials and tribulations of the residents, then let's reduce their tax burdens by 50%. So everybody who lives within close proximity who had to make a sacrifice to give up a road, give up the street, or make a sacrifice for the public and allow for, for visitors to come, park in front of their homes, to throw trash outside their doors, the doors of their cars. Let's reduce all of their taxes by 50%. As a council, as a municipal council, I'll write it. We vote on it. We sat right here and watched the administration make an attempt to give an administrative tax relief to 3 businesses now. That's the 3rd one that's been presented to us already. The third one, so let's give tax relief to our residents who have to be inconvenienced. And I'll say this last thing, and to the brother in the back, I'm looking forward to speaking and meeting with you, Brother Ibrahim, because I want to find an amicable solution. But I supported the Adan, and I still stand in favor, because I believe that if I'm in my yard and I want to play Teddy Pendergrass, I want to play Tito Puentes, whatever I want to play, I have the right to play it. But I have to be respectful to my neighbors. There's a time and a place that we have a noise ordinance in place, and when members of the community are consistently complaining to me that they're being woken up by the call, we have to address that. It has to be addressed. It has to be addressed. If there's a noise ordinance in place, even if it's in the middle of the daytime, and residents from 4 or 5 blocks away are being impacted by that, we have to be willing to address it. Everyone has their rights to do certain things. You have the right to play your call to prayer. I welcome that. I honor that. I support that. Even when I made the vote, I had 9 pastors from the Black community that came in opposition of my support for that. And I stated clearly, which I stand on today. Every member of our community deserves an opportunity to express themselves by how they see fit. But it doesn't mean infringing on the quality of life of your neighbors. And if we're not going to be quality neighbors, then we're not doing the right thing. Lastly, with the item relative to Grace Chapel, and I'm going to solicit the support from my fellow council persons who sat here, specifically Councilwoman Mims and Councilwoman Cotton, but not exclusively, because Councilman Mendez voted on it, Councilwoman Davila, Councilman Kalik voted on it as well. The taxes that was subsequently sold in a tax sale to recover that property were taxes pending from 2016. If I'm not mistaken, the mayor was elected in 18. Am I not correct? In 2018, the mayor took office, and Khalifa Shabazz was the legal corporation counsel. It wasn't until Farrah Irving was corporation counsel that we took the measure to purge the taxes on that property. Purging to the general public means to dissolve the taxes. We purged them, we dissolved them, so that means any previous subsequent taxes that existed, the council took action dissolving any unpaid taxes, therefore moving the property from that point forward as tax exempt. For the property to have been stolen and the church not to be properly noticed is a travesty. It is a travesty. And it speaks directly to how a specific community is treated over others. And I'm calling for the support of all, including the mosque, including members of the mosque. This was a blatant disregard. As Councilman McCoy talked about, Grace Chapel changed that entire community by turning down $1. They could have continued to rent it out. They could have continued to let it stay as a chicken shack. They could have continued to let it be a derelict property. But the moment that lease ended, they ended the lease. They stopped collecting rent. They knocked the building down, and the property was stolen from them. And now the property is being utilized for an illegal use, and the administration is sitting on their hands again, doing nothing about it. Tractor trailers being parked on unpaved surfaces. That property is not zoned for that, but yet they're doing whatever they want to do, derelict style. The administration is ignoring it. They're not paying attention to the property being stolen, and now the church is moving forward to take legal action. Every single legal action that we've taken, that we've gone through in the city, we've lost. They illegally fired Dave Gilmore. He sued us. He's back to work. Now he's on the hook suing the city for $5 million, taxpayers' dollars. They did the same to Jesus Castro. Again, legal action taken. They did the same to various employees with the city. And every single employee that's taken action. Lastly, I'll say this. because I catch a lot of scrutiny for being honest. I don't care. I stand on my integrity. Then the BA took a shot at me saying that I only got 700 votes. Well, out of consensus of this room, I would say 95%, only the employees that's possibly afraid to lose their job, all applauded when your dereliction of duty and your inability to do your job was outlined. Every single person in this room applauded. So obviously they agree you were the only one in disagreement with Miss Hannibal when she outlined your failure. And more importantly, the racial discrimination that you talk about, Brother Keys, is evident, is more apparent than now. Not only does the public not have faith in her, but her entire staff in the BA's office filed a suit against her for the treatment of the staff in her office. If that doesn't talk about incompetence, so we're constantly being sued, and every single lawsuit we're losing. So I'm urging the council to take action. Well, councilman, if you don't want to hear some of the truth, then relieve yourself. Leave. I don't need you heckling. But all I could, to someone else's point out what I'm saying is not accurate, that's not true, and let's dispute the facts, because the law is clear. NJSA, I got the number here for you to research, councilman. You can go do your own homework and do your own research. If there's something that I'm saying that's inaccurate, then let me know what it is. I'll make the correction, and I will apologize publicly. But with that being said, members of the public, I urge you, stay diligent, because we are being kicked in the face, and everybody's gonna play a big part in this. If you look at the city, it's a gross failure outside. Trash is everywhere, everywhere. And if it's not, then I'm in the wrong space. Madam Clerk, my vote is yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Jackson. Councilman Kalik.
My vote is yes to close the public hearing, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Councilman Kalik. Councilwoman Mims.
So to the public that is present and the public that is viewing, first I want to say thank you for coming. Thank you, Myra, for that commentary at the end. It's always really appreciated. First and foremost, let me say this, because I heard a couple of people say this. Ms. Briggs, I know the public are trying to leave, but for those that can't stay, just hear out all the council members. Ms. Briggs, I'm not sure, because I heard a few people say that someone disrespected you at the reorg meeting. I'm not sure who that was, but I'm going to go back and listen to the tape because I didn't hear or see that disrespect. So I'm going to go back and listen to the tape, because I heard a few people say that today. So obviously someone must have told them that somebody disrespected you, but I'm going to go back and watch it, because I know me sitting here, I would never allow anyone to disrespect the Briggs family. I was sitting here, I did not see or hear that, but I'm going to go back and watch the tape to kind of understand what happened, because I heard a few people state that, and I want to go back and hear. I want to go back to Ms. Briggs and Mr. Briggs, if that happened. I'm not sure like what happened, but I want to go back and hear it. So I just want to put that on the record. There's a few things that have been stated on tonight in the public portion. One, to Madam Clerk, to our BA. I pulled a lot of documents on Grace Chapel myself. I pulled documents as it relates to what was approved by this council. I pulled documents from the tax assessor's office. I also have the letters that were sent to the pastor and the church. So I am asking that there be a meeting with the pastor of Grace Chapel to be present here, because one thing I like is that we come up with solutions, and I want the public to be informed of the right things and not us always infighting, because I agree that when people are watching, it's always fighting. Somebody said, then everybody's at the mic and they're yelling at us because they thought we did something. But the facts are the facts, and I'm not going to go into them, but let me tell you, I have the facts. But I want the pastor present. He lives in the 3rd Ward, and I would like Madam Clerk, Madam BA, to please send a letter to the pastor, and I would like the pastor to come in an executive session so that we can go into and make sure the tax assessor is present at that meeting, so we can go into a executive session, because I don't want the church's business on open display for everyone. We can come back if something needs to be done after that, but there needs to be some clarity to what are the facts of what has really transpired. So I'm putting that on the record. That's one, because what's being stated is not full truth. So I'm just going to say that. So I want the pastor present, because the pastor knows what's going on. He's been the pastor of that church for a long time. He was here when all of this took place. So Madam BA, Corporation Counsel, Madam Clerk, that's my request, executive session. Number two, with the situation, and I did, like I told, on the day I said to Ms. Briggs, I'm going to reach out, and I did reach out to Ms. Briggs. I also reached out to ICPC as well to try to put together a meeting with the residents on the block and ICPC, because everything doesn't need to be hashed out at the council meeting. I think if we do things privately behind the scenes, what I said to both parties is about being good neighborly, right? If you ride through the area and look at the way it's transposed, one of the recommendations I said to ICPC, just create a neighborhood chat group text. When you're going to have an event, you just text the neighbors. We're having an event tomorrow. That way everyone is familiar. This is what's going on. But I'm still going to put that on the record. I think it would be great to have that level of dialogue privately with ICPC and the residents of that block. And I'm going to say the ICPC is a neighbor to everybody. They're not just for the Muslim community. They're open to everyone. We have, he left, Brother Abdul, Brother Akbar. They all go and worship at the Mosque Center. There are many of our children that go and are part of their summer program at the Mosque Center. They're not just of the Muslim, Bengali, Palestinian. They're not just of that ethnicity. It's all of our children that are out there. So if you go and visit, you will be very surprised. Also, to put on record, their community saw fit when they saw that we were limited with recreation. That community is spending $6 million of their own money to build a recreation center for all of our children with no tax dollars. With no tax dollars. And it's for every one of our children. For all of our children. It's not just for their kids, it's for every kid. And I'm a witness because they have helped with so many kids in my school alone. I'm an educator. In my school, they've helped for I can't even begin to tell you. So I believe that if there's a working solution, it could be done in a private conversation and a meeting. They are open to it. And that's what I would like to see done versus seeing us here pitting each other against each other. And even tonight, I was very, it kind of touched my heart because I think Sister Myra said it best, that we're talking about racism, right? There was a time when we didn't talk about you're African American, you're Spanish, you're whoever. We just all work together. So I think when people continue to say stuff like that, it divides us. It divides us as a council. It divides our community. Guess what? When we vote, it doesn't say vote on this item because they're Spanish. Vote on this item because they're Black. When we vote on items, it is supposed to represent the entire community. Now, are there things that go on in our community? Yes. But here's my word of caution to the African American community. You have to vote. You have to get out and vote. In the last election, only about 5% of our people voted. And if we vote more than we complain and point fingers at people, then we will get more. People will listen to us. But we rather come, rally behind something. We don't have all the information, all the facts, but we do not take it to the polls. When you take it to the polls, then they listen to you. When you take it to the polls, then you can get people in these seats. We're so busy trying to remove the small amount that we have. We're so busy. We're like, Mims don't do her job and Cotton don't do her job. Guess what? We're out of here. What happens? You got to think about that. See how quiet it got? When you're speaking truth to power, it gets quiet and the pin drop. We have to be able to stop causing division. We have to stop saying there's only one person fighting. Every one of us are up here advocating every week. Every week we're here. Tonight I have bronchitis, so I'm putting it on the record. I couldn't even breathe over here. Thank God for our director. It's hot in here. Everybody is steaming hot. I said to Council President, just do the items so we can all go home, not just us, the public. But then it was like, no, let the public speak. And then we went into that, and then the extra dialogue causes us to all sit here for an elongated time. My last point of reference. There are 12 months in a year. 6 months of the calendar year are already 2 meetings per month. Already. It's been like that for years. Past council people, current council people, and even future. It's always been like that. What we have done is said, look, tonight is a perfect example. If this is not fixed, I don't think you want to come back here for the whole month to sit in no heat. But it doesn't reduce the council's job. It increases our job. Because that means we have to stay longer, do the work, and still continue to do the other work outside of sitting here. So there's no reduction in work. We're still going to go to our committee assignments, as some of us do. We're still going to sit here and advocate like you see us. And we're also going to advocate and go to the administration and fight on behalf of the needs and what's needed in this community. 2 things. Madam BA, Director Rodriguez. A resident called for Vreeland Park. I went there, I took photos, I will send the photos. I would like for us to upgrade the playground equipment in Vreeland Park. Some of the bounce cars are old. He's watching. I know he's got, because I went there yesterday and he was shocked that I showed up so fast. But I want us to upgrade all of that playground equipment, and then under the benches that they sit on, we need to add some gravel or some rock because it's unlevel, and when it rains, it gets muddy. Also, some of the signage is missing in the park. We need to replace it. And I also want signage around the park that says no drinking, no smoking, and no dogs in the park. So I'm putting that on record because that's something. Madison and 7th Ave, I made the request. There needs to be an immediate traffic study. There's been many, many accidents on Madison and 7th Ave by where Torremino's is. And I've asked for maybe the last 6 or 7 years on East 27th and Broadway, we need a traffic light. I know we've talked about how expensive it is, but there's been major, major accidents with many incidents on that area. So I'm putting it back on the record that we need, in that particular area, we need a traffic light. Paterson, let's keep working together. Some people sarcastically comment and say, MEMS wants to build and not to battle. That's what I want to do. We're not gonna get anything done if we come here to fight our colleagues, fight the administration, fight the public. We're not getting nothing done. Everybody's laughing, watching us on television, thinking it's ratchet television or reality TV. We got to do better. We all are here because people elected us to be here. Whether 1 don't like it, 2 don't like it, we're here. But if you need our help, call us. Call me. I'm counsel at large. I represent the city. Madam Clerk, thank you for all you do. Deputy Clerk, our secretaries, police officers, Corporation Counsel, BA, CFO, Ermelinda, IT, head security, all our directors, they could have been went home. But I just want to say that. I had to put it on the record tonight because sometimes, people, they give information, and I really wish that we could get more people to rally around the real stuff going on versus coming out and not having all the facts of what's really happening. But I'm saying to the public, you don't have to come here. You don't have to come out of your house, out of your bed, out of your comfortable place. Call me. I'm going to put me on record. My number is 973-902-1957. Call me, and I'm not just going to tell you. I'm going to give you the documentation. I'm going to give it to you. That way you can read it for yourself if you don't believe what I'm saying. Read it. I read every packet. It comes to us on Friday. These items, and we have until Tuesday. Sometimes people don't put items on the agenda until today. Right before we walk in the building, items are put on. That's not fair to the council members. We didn't get to read it. We didn't get to research it. And then they sit there and they yell and say they don't want to support my stuff, but you didn't follow the process. So I'm saying to all, We have to follow the process. They have to follow the process. And Paterson, you elected us to fight for you. I'm here for you. If you need me, call me. And if you want to see these documents, I'll meet you tomorrow after work, because I got to go work in the hot building tomorrow. But after work, after 3 o'clock, call me and we could go meet in City Hall or wherever so I can give you the facts. Thank you. My vote is yes. Good night.
Thank you, Dr. Mims. Councilman Udine?
Good evening, Paterson. Thank you. Those are here, still sitting. Those are watching us live. When I supported this calendar, one thing that I asked the council president whether the workshop session is going to be live televised, and when he said yes, I supported at that time. This workshop is televised. Why am I saying this? Because yes, it was.
The special meeting was.
It was not in the beginning. So I believe that, and that was one of the things that I want to remind the council president that from now we are going to have televised workshop session, so that all the discussions before we go for voting session, people can hear from us, and also they can make their voice heard. With that condition, I supported it, and I love to see the workshop session going live, people listening before we make the decision. I'm looking forward to it, Council President.
Billy.
Let me come to the point that
Wait,
I spoke earlier regarding the Wall Street,
Wall Avenue.
Wall Avenue between 13th Ave and Broadway. I did not say it's not important. What I said is this council supported, vacated multiple blocks, multiple around the city. And this council unanimously supported vacating Wall Ave and that particular block. Everyone in the council supported it. Now, when you're coming up with another agenda, which is going reverse, what's happening is we are creating chaos in the community intentionally. That's what I'm trying to talk about. We are trying to get attention from the community. We are trying to stand community on two sides, where Muslim versus rest of the community. And this is not our community stands for. Our community is a beautiful community where we all are welcoming. If we talk about ICPC, particularly, just go with one organization, which is welcoming for every single religious believers. They have interfaith services. They have programs for every single children, regardless of your religious belief. So we cannot make that as a just Islamic center only for Islamic believers. And if we really do that, what we are doing is we are creating community chaos for our personal benefit. That's my point. Now, I respect Brick's family, and I respect their concern. What I respect is when they spoke about their driveways are blocked, the people who come to the Islamic Center, they park wherever they want. I believe this is an issue we definitely can address that. We can speak to the Islamic Center and also the community members, so we can find the solution that how Islamic Center can promote to the people who come to the center to make sure that they park on the legal parking sites. We definitely can promote this. And also can make sure that also law enforcement drive around and enforce tickets who are blocking the driveways. Before we come to the community, before we hear from the ICPC, what we are doing is we brought another agenda on the table to move forward and get support. This is what community division starts from. And we are, as leaders of the city of Paterson, we should come to the solution, which is not entertaining the public, but also sit on the back to closed door and find proper solution in the public. That's what my stand. When I said yes, I spoke to the ICPC Center, and I got a whole block map as well, that the 4 houses that on the particular block owned by the ICPC. If people park on the other side and block the driveways. Let's talk to them. Let's talk to the residents and bring both sides together. But coming up with another agenda to go reverse way, it's totally creating chaos among the communities when the community is not against each other. I believe that our community stands together. And I'm looking forward to see that ICPC and the residents of the neighborhood, we are having a meeting, we find a proper solution instead of creating and entertaining people, like coming up with another agenda without consultation with the community members. BRICS family, I never said it's important. It's not important. It's very important. But it's not important to come up with another reverse agenda. That's what I'm speaking about. And I'll stand strongly against it. As I said earlier, I'm still saying it because we need to speak to our community members as one Patersonians. Let's talk about the other stuff that we're talking about trash collection. Madam, be hard about it. The process that we have about bulk pickups, that they have to schedule it and the DPW go and pick them up. I have so many examples. Even from today, I can send you an example that they're scheduled to pick up the trash. Trash is sleeping on the street for many days, but nobody picks up the trash. Now, what's happening is when trash is sleeping there, the outsiders are also coming up with their trash and living next to that trash. And that is building over the time. We need proper solution for this. We cannot really just say people just call and point, and that's the wrong way. Our people are paying taxes. They do not have enough time to, they do not have, not many people has access to internet to schedule it and wait for DPW to pick up. I think we should have a scheduling system, whether in particular ward have certain days to pick up the trash or certain location to drop off, but we have to find a proper solution for this. Corporation Council. Recently, I sent you a draft ordinance, which is researched by Montclair State University regarding vape products and licensing process. And we also spoke about these smoke shops. Union Avenue itself has 3 smoke shops. Right now on Todwell Avenue, right across from school number 5, there's another smoke shop added. I sent a picture to the zoning department. I think zoning official Jesus Castro responds to me that smoke shops are like regular retail store. They can go anywhere they want. We cannot allow that to happen. We need to bring the changes before the half of the city taken over by the smoke shop owners. So I request your response to this in urgently that we have to introduce another ordinance to make sure that smoke shop cannot go anywhere they want, like many other stores. And also we have to address how can we license the vape products, because this is unrecorded at this point. Anyone can sell vape products in the city at this point. When our neighbor towns have licensing process and making revenue out of this licensing process. Resident, again, I will say that I love to see our community together. That's the strength of this community. Anything happens before it grow the chaos, I think we should find a solution. And the chaos that we have on Wall Street, I believe that we can find a proper solution. I can see the president of ICPC is here. I would love to walk there, and also I would love to see if council members want to join and make sure that we have a correct solution that both parties get satisfaction. With that being said, I welcome everyone to join my coffee and conversation every Sunday. Go to different Dunkin' Donuts, offer a free hour of coffee, and have conversation with me and learn what's up, issue that you are having on your particular blocks. And again, you know that I'm accessible. I try to reach out to, residents, hear from you, and this is who I am. Anytime you need to reach out to me, you are always welcome to call on my cell phone number, which is 973-582-8195. Resident, when you stand together, send Unitedly, just know this, you are way stronger. Some of us, some of our leaders make divisions to take our personal benefit. When you are divided, some of you keep our seat stronger. You stay stronger, we have to serve you proper way. That's what is going to come. I am not a politician, and I don't want to be a politician. I'm an educator. I teach in Paterson Public Schools since 2011. I spend my days with the children and their families. I know what their families are going through. Our kids graduate from our public school system, go to colleges, universities, and we expect them to come back. They don't really come back to our city because they feel this city is not for them. And we fail to prepare the city for our educated children and serve them or give them back to the community. So we have to be together, fight together, and work together. Thank you. And my vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilman Udine. Councilman Velez?
So people speak about unity. This is Coca-Cola, this is water. How are you going to mix it together to taste the same? So today a lot of things have been said. And I'm not going to ignore the concern of the community. Community came out with quality of life issues, came out with a ball pickup situation that we have in the city, loud music situation, council meeting being reduced, the Wall Street situation, the problem with the chapel church, Great Chapel. But I just want to say this. This didn't start it. It don't start from the council. It don't start from the council. We put in place ordinance. We write ordinance. Administration asks us to approve resources to make their job easier. For the department heads to have their own equipment and have the resources to serve the taxpayer, the city of Paterson. We're here to legislate and make sure that the administration, where they ask, we give it to them. They are the responsible party to make it happen. They are the party responsible to make it happen. For example, if we, the council, 9 members that are here in the council, is telling the administration, especially not the mayor, the BA, that it's not working, that this is the plan that we have as council persons, that this is what we want to see in place, because we are boots on the grounds. We are out there. The Madam BA don't walk the 5th Ward. Madam BA don't walk the 3rd Ward. Madam BA barely get out of her house and drive to City Hall. But she don't come around all the wards and see the problem that we have. She don't do that. So we are here as a governing body, that they call us, to see what are the problems, put in consensus between us and committee and different various committees that we have, and say, you know what, this should work. Let's put it in place. Let's talk to the administration. You know the first thing that they say? How are we going to get the money? My job is not to get the money. My job is to legislate to you be able to get the money. Right now, I had an argument today with Madam BA that she threw me out of the office only because my ideas and the ideas of Council President talking about what should be working with this bulk situation, with the 2 days garbage collection that we have in downtown, when it was 6, she didn't like the idea. And not only that, Silva, the CFO of the city that's responsible to watch for our finance, for him, our city is always broke. We don't have money. We need to cut. We need to do this. We need to do that. but there's no sense of proving things that they could work and bring the quality of life that the city deserves. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not the council's fault that the administration decide to cut a contract or bid on a contract, okay, that did not include bulk. They presented something saying, we got a garbage collection company that is going to A+ from New York that is going to collect all the garbage in the city of Paterson with no problem. New trucks, new employees. Matter of fact, there was ordered by the BA to not hire people from the last company in that company. But they want a slate clean personnel. And they did that. But then they say, Madam BA say, oh, you know who's going to be responsible for the bulk? The DPW is going to be responsible for the bulk. We trust her in what she said. She presented that. She presented zoning, how it's going to work, the calling, the internet. This is how we're going to do it. But it's not working. Matter of fact, you know what she blamed to us? She blamed the residents, and she blamed this council for not educating the residents. Yeah. Yes, Madam BA. You say that we didn't cooperate with the residents, that we didn't inform the residents of what they had supposed to do. And that was offensive. That was offensive. And you could look at me like that, and I said to you in your face that I was not Michael Jackson when you throw me out of your office. Because when you don't agree with something, the first thing it says that you go against that person, you don't go against their belief, because you're not boots on the ground, we are. And we give you ideas to make it happen. As soon as I put a post on Facebook about the situation, guess who I received a call? The mayor calling me. I didn't pick up. You know why I didn't pick up? Because if I'm talking to the wall and I'm telling the mayor, it's not working. Or talk to the BA. I go talk to the BA. Or talk to the mayor. So what is this? A pinball game. Meanwhile, our DPW workers are working underpaid. The worst vehicle they have it. They don't even can take lunch properly. Going job from job from job. You know what the BA tell us? That we, the council, called DPW to move the crew from one place to the other to take care of situations. We're not supposed to manage the administration divisions. We're supposed to inform them what's going on. And you know what I do? As a councilman, I text, can you please take care of this? Can you please take care of this? But when I see it is not taken care of, I put the date. This was reported this day and still have not been taken care of. But I don't go out here and say they're not doing their job. They are doing their job. The thing is, administration want to micro all the departments. Or they could do it with 5 guys, or they could do it with 2 guys. But she don't even know that I think the amount of garbage we have in the city. She don't know. Matter of fact, I showed Madam DCA the picture while she was arguing with me. I said, Madam DCA, look at all this. The bulk pickup is working. It's working so fine, but that they don't have a place to put the garbage. They dump it in all the way around the city. Madam BA has a background. She came from Oasis. Oasis is a place that works with homeless and people with crisis and family with crisis. And she don't have a plan to work with the homeless problem that we have in our city. That's her background. So I'm not upset at her. I'm upset that she said it's going to work and it's not working. We get the calls. Madam BA, they spoke about the quality of life, the loud music. Do you get those calls? No. We get the calls. Madam BA, do you get calls about a mattress not getting picked up? No. We get the calls. So you cannot tell us that you are in the same shoes of mine when you don't have a plan and your plans have been failing and we have been talking what's supposed to be working in our city because we are boots on the ground. The situation of Wall Street. We're not against who has or vacated the street. And Councilman Jackson stated right. They presented it this way. Councilman, we vacating the street because from the portion to the end, the 4 houses that covered that portion, owners are from the Islamic Center. They say all those 4 houses from that point back are owners. Yes, they agree with those 4 owners. And it's in the wrestle. And they said, we're not going to close the street. We're going to use it for parking and for our activities. So what I heard is that they be closing, but it's affecting the other side of the street. When they come, they don't use it for parking, and they use our resident parking on the other side. Now, all that conversation that they want to do now, Councilman, with all due respect, should be done in the beginning. And then bring a clear resolution and a memorandum of understanding. Soon as we approve it, you go by this. And then that problem will not be happening today. Ladies and gentlemen, I said on 1st of July, not because I'm not the council president, not because I'm not the VP, not because probably they're going to remove me out of all this leadership that I used to have at DPW and all that stuff. I'm not going to work with you guys, with my colleagues. I have to work with them. But it's right is right. And I'm going to keep my mouth shut if I see something that is not going along with the community. I cannot stand out there saying our road and streets are clean when I have to pass through a lot of roads and I see a mess. You know what I did today? I text her a text from somebody that sent me from Montgomery Street, Madam BA. I text her and say, listen, look how the train tracks on Montgomery Street looks. Now, if I take ownership and send it to DPW, and DPW care about the city and clean it, here comes a video saying we're doing the job. But they don't talk who's bringing the concern and who's doing the real job. So, look at downtown. All the sidewalks are full of grease. Look at downtown. Matter of fact, you know the contract where it says? The contract collection garbage contract, that it was only going to pick up 20 bags of each business in the 2 days of collection of the city, of downtown. 20 bags in 2 days, 20 bags each day. I don't know what town they came up with that idea. And only one business in downtown, one day, has 200 bags in the sidewalk. There's a business, and I will put the name, Leyden Carbon, had a contract, a company, to pick up their garbage. For the amount of garbage they put out, they cannot handle it to put in the back room, or they don't have a back room. Are they getting reimbursed? No. They should get it reimbursed. Why? Because the city have failed us to present the right plan on the bulk pickup, on the garbage collection. The company's not the problem. They got good trucks, they got good employees, cameras all the way around the truck. They pick up what they was contracted for. Garbage, not bulk. Bulk is responsibility of the DPW. And I said it. If they want us to vote for a contract, for me in my case, of garbage collection, I want to see along with it a contract for bulk. I don't care who company awarded to. I don't care who's going to get the contract. But this bulk situation should not put it on the burden of the DPW worker. And we haven't seen the workers' compensation coming along with all the situation from DPW. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. So let me bring some news to the residents of the Fifth Ward. If you see me visiting your home and leaving this in your house, here, and since 2016, I put together 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ordinances that normally the resident of Paterson call me for. For example, loud music ordinance, blocking your driveway, drinking in public and urinating in public, curbing your dog, simple things that I get calls. My neighbor don't curb his dog. My neighbor's blocking the driveway. My neighbor has the music at 2 o'clock in the morning. So what I'm doing is since 2016, for the trouble blocks that I get the complaint, I go to each house and I drop this Spanish and English flyer, advising them that this is the ordinance, this is the fee, this is the fines that carry every ordinance. If you violate it, you're already advised. So that means, PD, if you get a call in the 5th Ward, and you know that they're calling you for loud music, they already was advised. You have to issue a ticket. That's one. Second, tomorrow is going to be an important meeting at school number 2, Passaic Street. Back here, that'll be 22 Passaic. The OIC and the leadership of the police is going to be performing a conversation with the community. I want, and I've already sent it to my resident in the 5th Ward and the new District 510. I can't speak by myself. You need to come out. Talk to the OIC. Tell them to give you the real plan. At 6:30, the real plan. If you live in the area of 510, anywhere in the 5th Ward, anywhere in the 1st Ward, anywhere in the 2nd Ward, anywhere in the 3rd Ward, and you are concerned with the quality of life, come to this meeting. The OIC, his leadership staff is going to be there. And listen, after they come and give the lyric, are we doing this? The crime is 33% lower than 2023. We're in 2024, and we already have 5 shooting incidents in the corner of Van Houten and Shiansi. And that is not acceptable at all. A broad light, 2:30 in the afternoon, kids playing in Costello Park, a shooting back there. Mill Street, the corner by the Route 19. The guy thinks that he owns that whole corner, shooting back and forth with people. I cannot do it by myself. My colleague cannot do it by themselves. We could observe and report. We could hear and report. We're not cops. I don't have a book to give tickets. I don't have a gun. I don't have a radio to call back for backup. I was not sworn to be protect and serve because the cops do that, and they do it great. And let's not talk about the unfair contract they're getting, only because my friend, Madam BA, don't want to look into the people of Paterson. And let's not talk about interfering with elections. That's another subject. Ladies and gentlemen, somebody tell me on July 1st, Councilman Jackson, you know what they tell me? Councilman Velez, please, don't get like Jackson. And I say, don't get like Jackson. The only thing that me and Jackson have, that I'm Puerto Rican and he's half Puerto Rican. Okay? But one thing I gotta say, and I said in the 1st of July, some people probably don't agree with Jackson because it's not what he says, the way he said. He's a Trump in the council, right? Everybody say that. But you analyze what he's saying sometimes, it's true. There's some stuff that we agree and disagree. We could agree and disagree. Oh, I don't have quorum? No, we have quorum. They in the room.
He's in the room.
But I don't need to be a follower of others. I believe what I'm doing is right for the community. And what happened July 1st, and I'm going to call it the council domestic violence situation. That's what happened that's what happened in July 1st. Down the road, you will understand what I'm going to say. Director Billy Rodriguez, thank you for putting those crew out there in every request that we send you. You do the job, I know that. But you need more support from this administration. You need more equipment from this administration. You need more staff. And if I don't see in the budget what really you need, or represent, or what the community needs, try to get her 5. Because I need to put the service where the people need it. That's why I was elected for, and that's what I'm going to do. Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir.
Saying that, thank you. My witness has to close this meeting.
Thank you, Councilman Velez. Mr. President.
Council President. Council President.
God is great. So please allow me to speak for 3 minutes. But before that, Corporation Council has a very important information. Stay with me for 3 minutes, council members. So we need
Yes.
quorum. Don't leave the room, please, council members.
Thank you,
Now leave
Council
the room. There's
President.
only
I'll
5.
try to be as brief as possible.
Please, thank you.
Many times things are set up on the dais that are untrue, misleading, and directed at the law department. But I don't address it because I believe firmly in free speech, even if that speech means that you're wrong or providing inaccurate information. It's not my job, nor would I take it upon myself to correct misstatements. But one of the things that I have to correct tonight is item number 45, which is an ordinance drafted by councilmen of the First Ward that purports to take action on behalf of the city. This document is at best misleading. For example, it starts off with talking about street vacation, but then shifts in the middle of the ordinance to talk about tangible property, like real property or things that have been, according to this very statute that is cited here, acquired by gift, lease, exchange, or otherwise. Our streets haven't been acquired in that way. And so the reason why I feel compelled to speak upon this as opposed to other matters that are inaccurate that I let go unaddressed is because this item made it on tonight's agenda. It was published by the clerk. In addition to that, I observed during this meeting tonight, the councilman of the First Ward, his aide, hand this out to members of the public, who then took this and left with it. And so I would be remiss if I did not publicly state, 1, this document has never been and is not approved by the law department. 2, it's at best misleading. And 3, it is dangerously misleading because members of the public, both who have viewed this meeting, who have obtained the agenda from Madam Clerk through no fault of her own, and who had this document disseminated to the many members of the public here today, will leave thinking that this is a lawful ordinance, will leave thinking that the law department has somehow misled council because, as the councilman put it, the statute applies to items that can no longer be used for the purposes for which they were acquired. That doesn't apply to streets. That applies to tangible property. And I hope it's an innocent mistake. And I give the councilman of the First Ward the benefit of the doubt because he admitted that his own council aide, who I don't know has any legal training, drafted this. But I do want to make it clear and put it on the record that this is not approved by the law department, that this purported ordinance addresses 2 separate and distinct things, and that in the future we would like to review items in order to ensure that they have legal accuracy and are not misleading the public. So thank you, Council President, for allowing me to address this very serious
Council
issue.
President, very
Thank
quickly,
you.
very
And
quickly.
now, members of the City Council,
Just very quickly.
everybody spoke before a
No, I
standard
just wanna
period of
ask a
time. All
question.
my air council colleagues. Now, allow me to use my 3 minutes, and after I finish, we closing with this special meeting. I'll be extremely clear. After this, we closing this special meeting. Now, I'm the person, if you allow me, Council Cali, to use my 3 minutes, because I'll be brief. When the situation with Ms. Briggs, and I truly apologize if Ms. Briggs was offending in any way or form. I truly apologize. I remember during the reorg, she spoke for over 5-6 minutes. She expressed her concern. Councilman Abdelaziz addressed her, and my comment was that we have to bring the mask members of the ICPC together with the community. Before we voted on a second reading of this legislation, I knocked on every door on Wall Avenue, Deron Avenue, 14th Avenue, and 13th Avenue. I had the opportunity to speak with some members of the community. Some of the residents didn't open the door at that time, but I visited them, and Francis Harrison, the president of ESNA, is my witness that on that cold weather that day, I was knocking on every door, making sure that the resident understand the legislation that was on the floor to be approved, to make sure that they speak up, that they come to the mic, because I don't have any answer, but my third ward resident elect me to speak on their behalf and to take action that help and benefit our community. That's what I did. Now, when this incident arrived, my comment was unity. Let's bring it together. Tomorrow, I'll be on Wall Avenue, the wrong 13th Avenue, 14th Avenue with a flyer. We're going to have a meeting. ICPC is going to be on the table, and all the residents of the third ward, they're going to be on the table before we take any action on any legislation. We have to be a good neighbor. I'm not saying that we have issues on that area, but if we have problems in that area, why not addressing the situation with the mask, with the leaders? We all live in the city of Paterson, and if you believe that you're going to fix the city of Paterson by putting people against each other, you're wrong. We're going to destroy the city. That's what we're going to do, because ICPC is not going anywhere. Our residents on Wall Avenue and Deron Avenue, they're not going anywhere. We are going through a very difficult time in the city of Paterson. We already have biggest challenges around the city of Paterson that we have to address every single day. So with that being said, that meeting, I'm going to be knocking on every door, also with the leaders of the mass, to sit down on the table. And we're going to talk about all the issues I want to hear from all the constituents that live in all the sections. And also we're going to hear from ICPC. And we're going to come out with a solution that help the resident, that help ICPC, and that we could live in that community, in that neighborhood, in peace. That's what I'm hoping. That's what a leader do. You don't put the community against each other. You don't put people against each other. You don't bring even color into this conversation. Religion, races. Because what we're doing was dividing the community. We're dividing the city of Paterson. Whether you like it or not, the comment that I hear about over there, you're dividing the city. I don't take nothing personal. But I see people that they laugh about my actions, my ESL, whatever. They laugh about everything, my ethnicity. I stay quiet because I know who I am. I know that I'm extremely qualified to be in this position. And I know that I have a lot to give to the city of Paterson. And as I mentioned before, we have so many problems in our community. We know that the city is filthy. We know that the bulk situation is not working. I already addressed that situation with the administration. We're going to have a meeting, and I need a committee from my council colleague to sit down and put everything on the table and come up with a new plan to clean the city of Paterson. The city is filthy, dumping, illegal dumping. It's at its worst in the area. Director Rodriguez, 6th Avenue by the red track. We cleaned that. It's a disaster in that section. I've been in contact with this administration every single day, sending text, email, picture. We get the calls, yes. We get the calls at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning with the loud music. Enforcement, it's a big problem in the city of Paterson. And my recommendation to this administration is to start holding everybody accountable. Because as a council member, I get those calls at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning when my senior cannot sleep in the third ward because of the loud music. There's people that play loud music morning, day, and night without any consequences because they don't care. We have to put a stop, and there's got to be consequences for those people that are breaking the law every single day in the city of Paterson. Enough is enough. We have the manpower. They're out there. We got to get the job done. We all have to come together as one community. I have that meeting with the administration. I need my council colleague on that meeting. We need your input and say what we're going to do with a ball pickup and how we're going to fix it. Because what we have now is not working. Our public work department, they working around the clock. Director, I know you're doing what you can with your department. We need to know what do you need, the resources that you need. Because what we see in our city is just unacceptable. And we cannot stay quiet. Now, I'm not using this podium to come here and bash everybody. I go into the meeting and I call everybody to bring a new plan to get it done. To my third ward resident, our town hall meeting is going to be July 24th, which is a Wednesday at 6 o'clock at Eastside Park. The weather is great. We're going to come together as one community on that town hall meeting every month. And starting July, we took a break because of the reorg. July 24th, we're starting with our town hall meeting every month. I would like to hear from our residents the issues that affect the community. We're going to have public safety involved. We're going to have Director Billy Rodriguez on the 24th, July 24th at Eastside Park. Put that on the calendar. Let's address the issues that affect our community. Our taxpayers, they deserve service, and we are here to provide our services to the community. So once again, to the ICPC leader, Abraham, so we're going to be connected before you leave. Tomorrow, we're going to disseminate the flyer, and let's bring everybody together. And the Briggs family, once again, I do apologize. I don't know exactly what happened at that meeting, who said what. I'm going to have to go back and watch the meeting because I didn't hear anything out of order. But like I said, you are an icon in this community. This family, it's a pioneer in this family, and we're here to serve. We're here to serve the community. But as I mentioned before, there's a bigger picture. Let's come together in order for us to move the city of Paterson in the right direction. Once again, the playground at Eastside Park renovation. Next month, we'll start with the playground and also the resurfacing of the ring. It's on the resolution also over here for the next workshop. And with that being said, I think that, it's been hard. I'm sorry. I do apologize to all the residents of the city of Paterson that came to this meeting. I refuse to go virtual because what happened in the past, we have 2 meetings every month. If we have to use another venue for Tuesday, we're going to have to. But the weather, it's difficult to be here. It's not safe, and it's not healthy for the staff and for the resident of the city of Paterson. So with that being said, my vote is yes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. The votes are 8 yeses, 1 absent. The public portion of the workshop is hereby closed.
Oh, that's a workshop close? Move to adjourn the meeting?
Second.
Motion to close special meeting moved by Councilmember Leslie.
No, I need to talk to Billy. I need
No,
to.
my
I need
vote
to.
is yes.
I didn't say. No, we closing the meeting.
We're closing the meeting.
We're closing the.
No, he closing the meeting.
I closing the meeting
He
now.
closing the meeting.
I already
He ain't
closed
closing
the
the
meeting.
special.
Rafael.
He said you didn't say special. He didn't say special. He said meeting. So what are you closing, Council
We're
President?
closing the public, we were closing the public portion, Councilwoman.
Right.
And now we're gonna
Motion on
close the
floor to
meeting.
close the special meeting by
Well, that's what he
Councilmember
needed to say.
Leslie,
He did
second by
not say that.
Councilwoman Mintz.
No,
Roll
he
call
didn't say that.
to close the special meeting.
Roll call to close the special meeting of Tuesday, July 9, 2024. Councilwoman Cotton.
Thank you. You know, everybody who's watching this, I know they're saying an hour and a half to close a meeting, an hour and a half. And you know, there's so much stuff that we need to get done. Billy, I want to go on record. We need to have a meeting on 12th Avenue Park Playground. We need to have a meeting on 16th Avenue. I call it Pocket Park. We need to have it. And also, I want to sit down. I'm glad to see Mr. Greer here. The change order for Barber Park. In the resolution, it doesn't say what it is. That they need an extra $26,000. I'm not sure what it's for. So I need to know, and you can be sitting in there with me, Mr. Greer, on what day. But I want us to look into, and also we have a lot of issues going on with the dumping, and I receive a call. Well, we all get calls. We get calls all day long, all of us. We all get calls. But one of my constituents said that we need to, Billy, and I would talk to you about it, set up, he called it surveillance. Let me tell you something. I'm ready to sit somewhere for 3 hours or 4 hours. I'm ready to catch somebody. I can use my phone. I can use something. I'm ready to catch somebody. because all this dumping isn't garbage. All this dumping is construction stuff. All this dumping is sheetrock, wood pieces. This it's not garbage. It's all other stuff. And we're working our poor DPW people. We're working them too hard. As Councilman Velez said, we got to come up with something with Buck of how we can get something done. And also, I want to say too that I'm going to second Councilwoman Mims' motion that for Grace Chapel Church, Baptist Church, that we need to have a meeting with the pastor. We need to have that meeting with the pastor, and so we can, we can show him things, or he can show us things that happen that we don't know what happened. And you don't want to, always say to people, you can't put everything out there. You need to tell the whole truth about whatever went down. So I'm asking you again, we need to put that together. But Madam Billy Rodriguez, Director, those are the 3 items. I need to find out what's going on with those things, and also with Councilman with the Briggs family too. I've lived down the street with the Briggs the daughter's here. She was here for 40 years. She lived there. The father lived there when I came in there, but he's not there. But the father moved. But anyhow, I know how they feel, and I think they need to get to the bottom of what's going on over there. And I know Councilwoman Mims talked to him, and Councilman Velez talked to him, but just to see, they've been in this community for such a long time. And I can say that a lot of the council people sitting up here, there's a lot of names up here people don't know. They don't know Miss Greer when she was on Hamilton Avenue. They don't know, there's so many people that did so many good things. And when I heard about the Grace Chapel, that thing hurt me really bad, because I know how good Grace Chapel was to this community. And Grace Chapel is still good to this community. All the teams they sponsored, all the stuff they did for kids, how they changed that area down there. There was so much, so I'm not sure who's in charge over there now, but something happened, and I don't know what it is. So, Billy, when can I see you? As soon as possible? Tomorrow? I'll bring Greer with me. I'm bringing Roger with me. Okay. Thank you. Well, what we doing? Closing? I'm sorry, you guys. My vote is yes to close close the special meeting. Thank you. Close the special meeting.
Councilman Jackson?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And it's very sad the Council President got his wheels on now. I'm glad Raphael is dialed in. Because he's pointing the finger at the administration, saying that it's a dereliction out there, the administration needs to hold everybody accountable. But yet, as a council person, specifically as a council president, you have failed to hold the administration accountable. That's the council's job, in holding the administration accountable when they fail at their job. So instead of cheerleading at every chance you get, every opportunity you get, and talking about, oh, we're moving the city forward and celebrating and cutting ribbons, you should be holding the administration accountable. Not one person in here was happy tonight with the administration's performance. Councilman Udine, I try my best not to call people by name and just be generalizing in instances, but the disappointment, the accusation, he left. The accusation, oh, he's there. The accusation that I'm writing a resolution to stir up confusion or to create a divide. I didn't go out seeking anybody. They came to the council. The community came to the council with the expectations of having their concerns heard. And they were met with indifference. The Briggs family, now who everybody's talking about as such pillars, wasn't even addressed by name. The family with Mr. Briggs, who is dealing with some health challenges, was lost his vision, was forced to sit through 4 hours, forced to wait to the end of the meeting to get to the public portion. Then she was limited by 3 minutes, and I tried my best to ask Council President, if you go back to the video and watch, I tried my best to ask him to allow her to be addressed. When various members of the public come forward, they're endowed with the privilege of everything stopping. They get an unlimited time. Gee, have you not witnessed that? Certain individuals come to the microphone, they get extended clocks. The council stops. We break protocol. We address everyone's concern one by one. But the Briggs family, who had a concern about their neighborhood, they wasn't addressed with that. I didn't write the resolution to try to create a divide. What I did was I stepped in. See, real leadership is not afraid to go against the wave, not against the majority of popular conformation. I'm not going to conform if I have one resident who had an issue. I supported this item. I voted in favor. And I made a mistake because I trusted all of you. I trusted the people who I spoke with. Councilman Mendez said he knocked on every single door. So what's the odds? Every single door, they have a petition with every single resident on the street that had not been spoken to. Mrs. Briggs is not somebody that's going to be influenced by Mike Jackson. I didn't come up here and force her to say those words. I didn't write a script for her. She said clearly, Councilman Mendez, maybe I need to reach out to Miss White. You said she's the one to get things done. That wasn't me. So to paint the picture that I'm trying to drive a wedge or a divide, no. I'm trying to make right what was done wrong to the residents. That's who that's what the priority is to. Secondly, Corporation Counsel, my brother. At one point, I had a tremendous amount of respect for you. And at one point, very quickly, that was lost. Because just like every other time, tonight, you took action to mislead the public. Brother, I listened to you. I didn't heckle from the cheap seats. I listened to you. I respected you. And you can't take what you just dished out. Because this document that I was forced to write, because you directed members who worked for you, who worked for me, by the way, and who worked for the public, you directed them not to write something for me. So I now have to take matters into my own hand, do my own research. I don't have a legal team, but guess what? What this document does say is draft. That means this document says clearly draft. And every single copy, please don't approach. Don't approach. Just don't show facts. Here's a carbon copy of all the documents that was handed out to the public, of which he stated the document that I handed out was misleading. I don't care what you have. This is the document that I handed out. You made an accusation against me saying that I didn't know what I was doing. I handed out a document that was false and misleading. The document clearly says draft. When I sent the email, it was directed to the clerk. Madam Clerk, make sure that it says draft. I want to hand it out to the members. I want to hand it out to the public, right? So, further, and to everyone, Councilman McCoy, if you're watching, Corporation Counsel, all you've done is strengthen a legal case because the objects that you pointed out, saying the statute that I quoted in this resolution was the exact same statute that you utilized for the initial document. So, Madam Watkins, if you could please allow him to focus, because Brother Greer, the item in which he states I did poor research on, the NJSA 40-567-1. It's the same exact item that he referenced on the legislation that he wrote to give the street away. All I did was research the statute and put the portion of the statute that stated clearly that can no longer be used for purpose of which it was acquired. That was in the statute. So for him to state, see, he doesn't want to listen to the rebuttal, but for him to state that the wrong statute was utilized because we're talking about real property, it's the same statute that he used when he drafted the original document. So how am I doing something incorrectly? Of course, I started by quoting the original document that was utilized to vacate because I wanted to be specific and utilize the language and the wording that was used prior to. Because if we're going to look to rescind, we have to look to rescind it based upon the facts in which it was utilized to begin with. And further, if people gave testimony, if you will, because when you come before the council, this is a quasi-judicial board. And if you come before the council and give factual context, then you could be held accountable to what's not factual. And if you're saying that everyone was consulted with and they were not, then that's an issue because you coerced my support based upon some inaccurate information. Corporation Counsel, you've shown me on multiple times your concern is not about the community, not the one that I stand for and represent. Your concern, your objective is to be politically correct for the faction in which you're trying to rally for. And for a person who made a living on suing the city, right now your track record in making sure the city's not getting sued is very poor. It's very poor. You can't point out one lawsuit that we're vindicating on. You can't point out one. Make it public. Make it public. Because Gilmore comes to the microphone repeatedly boasting on how he's kicking your tail in the courts. Of course you're not, because it's going to be the city of Paterson that needs to pay. That needs to pay for it. You know, I really, just based on, you know, your approach, your commitment to your religion, I truly thought you were going to be a different person that I could trust and rely on, to be truthful, to be factual. You have not. Misleading the public tonight to say that I did a poor job in putting the statute here on this document. It's the same statute you used. It is the same statute. I copied it word for word from the legislation you wrote. Okay. I don't need to come see you. I've met with you multiple times and all you did was lie to me and mislead me. You made promises that you never make good on. I don't need to talk to somebody that's gonna lie. What I do now is I put your dirty laundry out in the public and let the public be the judge of it. Because this is the same document and I'm gonna post it later on. I'll send it to you. The same exact statute. I'm sorry, Councilman. Let me just state it clearly. I'll read it off both documents. NJSA 4067-1, NJSA 40A 12-5. It's the same exact statutes that was utilized in the first legislation. You should research what you're signing off on a lot better. Madam Clerk, my vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilman Jackson. Councilwoman Mims. We're closing the special meeting, Dr. Mims.
So I want to put this on record tonight. We're in 77 Ellison Street and it is extremely hot. So I am asking Council President to our PA.
Council members, we're closing. Council members, we're closing the Councilman Jackson. Councilman Jackson, we're closing the public portion.
Special.
Councilman Jackson.
Point of order.
Councilman Jackson.
Point of order.
Councilman Jackson. Councilman Jackson. Once again, can you allow us to close this? Can you allow us to close this public portion? Councilman Jackson, can you allow us to close? That's what I call the respect. That's what I call the respect. It's Corporation Council, please do not answer it. Please do not answer. Council members, please allow me to close this special meeting before we break quorum. You don't allow us to talk. You keep talking. Conversation just step out and go on the other side. What a level of disrespect. Councilwoman Mims, please.
Use your gavel.
Perhaps next week, we can have all faith-based organizations come down just to do a moment of prayer for the council, sprinkle some oil, whatever we need to do, because we definitely need it. I'm gonna put it on the record, Council President, and Councilman Jackson. Tonight, it was scorching hot. Council President and Councilman Jackson.
It's unacceptable.
Okay, but just leave it. Let Council President.
Councilman Mims, please, exactly. Thank you. And I apologize to the public. We're still on TV. This is what I call a level of respect at the highest. This council member, it's irresponsible, arrogant. He's a bully. He's a bully. Somebody called him the Donald Trump, but at the worst level of bully. He doesn't respect nobody. No, it's a shame on you. Shame on you that you wait until that camera is on to go with your show. And look at the time, and it's over 90 degrees inside. There's no water. I've been trying to get a bottle of water for an hour, and I'm still here working.
Whose fault is that? There's no water here.
And he
You
talks
didn't have
for
no water
hours.
for the public.
Paterson,
You didn't have
listen,
no water
pay
for the
attention
public.
about
Whose
what
fault is
this
that?
guy's doing. Pay
Whose fault is
attention.
that? Another failure
We
of
have the
yours.
clerk department.
Another
Everybody's
failure
here,
of the
and
administration.
he doesn't allow
Nobody had
nobody to
water.
do city business. Your time is done. Councilman Mims,
Hit it
please.
again. Hit it again. It made you feel good?
Nah.
Whose fault is that we didn't have water?
So
That was your
I was.
fault.
If the cooling system is not working in this facility, we should not meet here next week. We should know that sooner than later. I'm also putting it on the record for the cooling centers that are not working in the museum and the health department. The same thing. If they're not working prior to employees getting there, let's let them know before they get there to avoid any situations or occurrences with our employees or anyone that is coming in, whether it's the public or whoever. We should know that ahead of time. It's time to go home. I have nothing else to say. Tonight, we need prayer. Madam Clerk, my vote is yes.
Thank you, Dr. Mims. Councilman Udine?
My vote is yes to close the public portion.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Velez?
Oh, yeah.
You can.
My vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilman Velez. Mr. President,
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Paterson, I truly apologize for this lack of decorum from Councilman Jackson and the disrespect that he had in this chamber. We finished our city business. So once again, to the mask and all the residents on Wall Avenue, the Run Avenue, 13th Avenue, the meeting is on Friday at 4 p.m. Friday at 4 p.m. at the ICPC mask on the Run Avenue. We'll be visiting all the residents with a flyer to make sure that everybody attend to the meeting. With that being said, my vote is yes. We're closing the special meeting.
thank you, Mr. President. The votes are 6 yeses, 3 absences. The special meeting of Tuesday, July 24th is hereby
Hey,
closed.
Madam Clerk, before we close, the item on the Run Avenue, the item will not go on the agenda next week. Will not go. The item was presented to the clerk at 5 p.m. The item was not on the record. The two items that are related with Wall Avenue, that way on Tuesday on the regular meeting, I don't want to hear people say, Council President Mendez, remove those items from the agenda. Those items should not be on the agenda. They went into the clerk department at 5 p.m. They were not on the record, just to be clear. Thank you, Paterson.
Council, suspend the workshop, please.
Can you suspend?
Suspend the workshop.
Sir,
Yes, Madam Clerk, the workshop, we work on the rest of the item on the agenda. Billy, don't leave. So we have some few items, but we work that on the agenda.